What up, what up, what up, wrestling fans all over the world? It is your boy, Mac the Giants fan, coming out here welcoming y'all to WrestleMania weekend. It's officially getting all the way started with the action now. This is NXT Stand and Deliver. Let's go, baby. As they wrapping up the pre-show, we just saw Toxic Attraction lose their NXT tag team titles to the Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, the reunited tag team, with a little assist from Wendy Chu. Didn't expect that title change, but at the same time, it was, like Jeff said up in the comments, a damn good match. So hats off to Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai getting back together and winning those tag team titles, taking them off of Toxic Attraction that have been having them on lockdown for several months now. We'll see what happens with Mandy Rose a little bit later on, man. But welcome in, man. Thanks for stopping in, Jeff. Neymar, man, good to see you in here, bro. Appreciate it. And without further ado, I'm going to bring on my main man, Jeffy T, man. NYG.
It's the Miggity Mac. The Miggity Mac. What's up, my brother?
What is going on, Jeff? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I feel it. I feel the hype in the air. You know, it is WrestleMania weekend. Looking forward to a pretty damn good NXT and Deliver show. I think this show is going to be really, really good and surprise a lot of people with the match card they got set up.
Looks like we're starting off with the ladder match, too. Looks like we're going to start off with the ladder match.
Oh, baby. That thing. Oh, man. This one could steal the show.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't see any reason why this match won't be anything less than phenomenal. So they're definitely going to be starting off with it. I mean, obviously, hasn't officially kicked off yet, but they're starting to bring the guys down to the ring now for the ladder match. So I guess once 1 o'clock gets here, they're just going to get right to it.
Can you feel that presence, too, when they walk out? How Legado de Fantasma is? Like, you could just feel the presence of Santos Escobar, Raul Mendoza, Joaquin Wilde, and Alexa Lopez. When they just show up on the stage, you get that presence, like something big's about to happen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm a big fan of everybody in this ladder match. I think anybody can win it. All these guys are extremely talented. All of them can make the high spot look great. And I mean, Carmelo Hayes has been one of those guys that the second he stepped foot into NXT, this kid is just oozed charisma, oozed stardom. This kid's got superstar written all over him.
100%. He's like what you just call a natural talent. He just has it. He has it all. He's good in the ring. He has it. He has the mic skills on cutting promos. This kid has it all. Like you said, he just oozes charisma, man. He could be a huge star for years to come for this company if they don't treat him, as long as they treat him the right way.
They got to realize that this kid has got everything they need and want in a superstar, and they got to try to make sure they groom this kid into becoming one of those next big superstars. I mean, he could be even bigger than a Finn Balor. He could be bigger than a Kevin Owens. He's just got everything they need in a guy that can potentially carry this company for the next 10, 15 years or be one of those flagship names for this company going into the 2030s and so on.
What's going on, AK, man? It's good to see you in here. Thanks for stopping by, bro.
What up, AK? So, Mac, I was going to ask you, what do you think so far on this NXT pay-per-view? What is the match that you're looking forward to the most out of all these matches going on?
It looks like we're starting to show off with the match I'm looking forward to the most, man. I was really looking forward to this ladder match. I think it's going to be exciting. It's going to be it's going to be high-flying. It's going to be good. It's going to be an electric match, man. You got, like you said, Santos Escobar, Grayson Waller, who, I know as he runs his mouth, is kind of crazy. How you doing, Raphael? But he's pretty talented in the ring as well. And then you got Sokoa the Usos brother. I can't remember. Solo Sikoa. Yeah, Solo Sikoa, man. It's just gonna be good, man.
I think the one match that I'm actually looking forward to the most, that I think is really going to have a chance to steal the show, is going to be Gunther versus LA Knight. That match is going to be fantastic for what Gunther can do in the ring for his size. And oh man, and when he's about to chop you, you couldn't pay me amount of money to take one of those chops to the chest. It's like a pipe bomb goes off in the building when he smacks your chest. And LA Knight, that dude oozes the charisma. I think that
Every
match is going to surprise people.
every time I watch Gunther wrestle, man, I feel like whoever his opponent is, their chest is gonna look like ground beef by the time the match is over, man. He absolutely does just dig in, man, and it's he that I do agree with you also on there. That's going to be an interesting match as well because I think LA Knight hasn't really had that big moment, true not that true big moment since he's come over here to NXT. So yeah, absolutely, AK. I'll be doing WrestleMania tonight too,
And I
and
think
tomorrow
also,
as well.
I mean, also too, it's like every time he's about to chop you, it's like the Mortal Kombat thing where Shao Kahn's like, "Your soul is mine." So he's like going in for the big chop, and it's just like you could see the soul out of the person just start going off into the sky because that's what it feels like when he's about to chop you. But I think that match is going to be really underrated. Just give those guys 15 to 20 minutes and let them go. Thank you so much, Rick, for the sub. I appreciate it a lot.
Appreciate that, Rick, man. What's going on with you, bro? Just gonna be a big wrestling weekend for your boy up here, man. We're doing NXT Stand and Deliver right now. WrestleMania Saturday night later, and then WrestleMania Sunday night tomorrow as well. And then I will also be launching my podcast on Monday. Beer mugs and bear hugs. Mac the Giants fan.
Make sure you guys check out that podcast when he launches it too. It's going to be good stuff for you guys. One of the
Yeah,
best content creators in the Giants Nation right here.
Monday is all gonna be all about WrestleMania on Monday. The debut premiere episode will be all about WrestleMania, the weekend, breaking everything down from the Hall of Fame ceremony to to all the action.
I think two of the biggest questions tonight at WrestleMania, at least for Saturday, is what is going to exactly happen with Stone Cold Steve Austin tonight? Because that crowd is going to absolutely just go nuts when that glass breaks. And the other
I
question is, oh, go ahead, Mac.
I was gonna say I'm curious about that as well. I think at this point with the build up of bringing Stone Cold to WrestleMania for a spot with this segment with Kevin Owens, I think these guys it has to be something more than just a regular talk show. You know what I mean? You got to give this crowd something more, man.
And the
So I'm
way they've been
curious.
hyping it up for it's been 19 years since I've done this. 19 years. He's been going back to the match he had with The Rock at WrestleMania 19. It's got to feel like that they're going to do something more than just, have a talk show. Austin's going to walk in, maybe punch him a couple of times and stun him, and that's it. This feels like it's going to be an all-out brawl or some type of, maybe not a match, but some type of fight.
I agree 100% with that, man. I'm excited because I was a huge Stone Cold fan back when he was active, man, when he was wrestling, man. So I'm very excited to see what happens tonight with that spot on the KO show. Also, I'm very curious, man. Who is going to be Seth Rollins' opponent, man? Because heard some rumors now that Cody Rhodes, it won't be Cody Rhodes, that
Mm-hmm.
he's apparently not going to be part of WrestleMania. And I've also heard some rumblings that one Mr. Bray Wyatt is down in Dallas, Texas. So
Yes, sir. They're having a
I'm
lot of
curious.
rumbles. They're having a lot of rumbles that Bray Wyatt is in Texas right now, in fact, and there's a possibility maybe he decides to show up tonight. Vince McMahon at the Hall of Fame did name drop him last night, and there have been, like you said, those rumblings that Cody Rhodes might not show up, that he might back out of his might be backing out of his match tonight. So also a name maybe a lot of people might not love, but it might happen. Gable Stevenson. They've been hyping up this kid from the Olympics that this could be his night. And he did tweet out, but it was deleted right after that he was going to do something at WrestleMania. So do not be shocked if Gable Stevenson is the one that shows up against Seth Rollins, if it is not in fact Cody Rhodes. Anything could happen, but those are the two things, especially on Saturday, that I'm looking forward to the most by far. And I was hoping too last night, like when they did the Andre the Giant Memorial, I thought when they did Damian Priest and Finn Balor in there together, I was hoping that Balor would eliminate Priest like he did, and that Priest would come back later and try to eliminate Balor in some type of nefarious way, maybe knock him out, punch him, take him out, and then all of a sudden later on we'd somehow get them into a match at WrestleMania, which is what should be happening right now. Those two should be having a match at WrestleMania.
That's my biggest disappointment. With the only thing, my disappointment with the WrestleMania card kind of is like I feel like WrestleMania, the biggest show of the year. Every title should be getting defended, man. There should be none of the champions. All the champions should be having matches at WrestleMania. And Finn
Mm-hmm.
Balor is one of your absolute biggest stars. There's no excuse for him not to be showcased here at WrestleMania this year, especially as big as an event as you're making it this year. Finn Balor should have been on display, and you're right. He should have. It probably should have been him against Damian Priest, and go ahead and maybe either wrap that rivalry up or push it, keep pushing it forward, stronger, going forward with it. But one way or another, Finn Balor should have been defending his title one. And also Ricochet, the same thing with the Intercontinental title. That's one of the WWE's most longest tenure titles, one of their most famous titles, and that's not getting defended here at WrestleMania either. And that's also a travesty. I feel like you got to find a way to get these guys on the card. Should have found a way better than just inserting them in the Andre the Giant battle royal last night on SmackDown.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And I mean, I might just come down to maybe they just couldn't find a certain opponent for Ricochet to face at WrestleMania. I mean, they just probably threw in the Los Lotharios as a last ditch resort. But yeah, I just don't understand it at all why they did not have these two guys defending their belts at WrestleMania. Because Ricochet, all he has to do is just show up and go in the ring. The guy's going to steal the show. And Balor and Priest could have easily been one of the best matchups on that card, the entire WrestleMania. So I don't understand it, but I guess they just didn't think that those matches would. They didn't have enough time to maybe book any type of title matches or programs with them, and that's probably why they saved it,
Well,
at least for Ricochet on the Friday SmackDown before Mania.
I mean, I feel like you got to find a way to get those squeezes. I mean, if you could find a way to get Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn, Johnny Knoxville, Sami Zayn match in, you can find a way to get a Finn Balor against anybody match in, whether it was Damian Priest or anybody. I just feel like the name Finn Balor, he's just too big a name, too big a star, man. You gotta get him on WrestleMania.
Oh, absolutely. And you already have a feud going with the two of them that they've been building up for the past couple of weeks. That after Priest lost his title to Finn Balor, he did the cross over on the announce table not once but twice. So you had some type of feud building, and you just turned him heel, and then you just sort of abandoned it for Austin Theory. They had Austin Theory walking, which the one thing that didn't make sense to me is why is Austin Theory? I know you're building this big match with him and Pat McAfee. Why is Austin Theory pinning not only the U.S. champ in 2 minutes, but why is he pinning the Intercontinental champion in a six-man tag? It just doesn't make any sense at all, and that's just taking down the credibility of not one but both your mid-card champions.
Yeah, I never understood that either. But I feel like Austin Theory is being pushed to be one of the next real big stars. So I just think they're just kind of shooting that kid to the moon, and I feel like that's why they're just. It just seems odd. I agree. Like you get him in there, and he's got a story, building a story along with him against Pat McAfee, but yet you still have him on the side, taking out Finn and taking out you know the other champions. I don't get. I just feel like they're just shooting him to the moon. And pretty by this time next year, he may be wrestling in the title match. To be quite frank.
Oh, Vince McMahon already pretty much said, or there's been backstage talk that they're already positioning him as the next John Cena. They think he has what it takes to be the next John Cena, which I don't see. I see more of a Randy Orton than I do a John Cena, but that's what they believe. They believe it. I just think he's got that type of arrogance and attitude to be like a Randy Orton was when he was a young punk in the early 2000s. That just fit his character.
I totally agree, and he's already demonstrated that he can hit that switch and have like a nice little mean streak as well. I think he could actually be a really good. He could be a top heel throughout his career if they keep him more in that direction instead of trying to have him leaning towards more of a John Cena type of character.
Hmm. I just don't know if he has the complete natural charisma, and I don't know if he has that drawing power to be like John Cena. Because John Cena, yeah, everybody hated him if you were, in the demographic of our age. But John Cena had one thing, and that was the charisma on the mic to just make it happen easily for everybody. Oh, we got the ladders coming in. We got the ladders coming in
Introducing
the
the
match.
ladders.
Here we
Finally,
go.
introducing the ladders. The best part of the ladder match is getting the ladders in the ring and start seeing these guys doing crazy, spectacular moves off of these ladders, falling onto them, absolutely putting their bodies on the line.
I forget
Everybody
what's
out
the name
there,
of Grayson Waller's bodyguard, the big guy. His name's Sarav first.
Sarah or something like that.
Yeah, he was named Sarav when he was with Veer in NXT when Malcolm Bivens was running them as a tag team before.
Yeah. Oh, what is just going on here?
Uh, for anybody that's curious, I know it's a wrestling podcast, but we have an NFL trade that just happened. We have the Patriots are acquiring wide receiver Devontae Parker and a 2022 fifth round pick from the Dolphins for a 2023 third round pick. That is your NFL breaking news. So the Patriots have acquired Devontae Parker.
Yeah, I was just that's exactly what just got my attention too.
You're going to get sports all over the place, man, no matter where you are. But that's a pretty good deal for the Patriots to acquire a nice veteran receiver like Devontae Parker if he can stay healthy on that team.
Well, welcome to the chat, Alan Osamo. Hope I pronounced your name right from Kenya. Welcome to the chat, my man. If you would like, please subscribe to me and New York Jeffy. We'll be bringing a American football content as well as wrestling content for you, man.
That was pretty cool. Oh, Melo's about to do something crazy. You already see it in his eye.
What do you think about Solo Sokoa, the Usos' younger brother?
I mean, he's got that mean streets type of deal where he could be like that type of guy. He's got the MMA type feel mixed in with like the Usos background. I mean, he looks like he could fit the bill, and I would even, if it's possible, I think he's going to be main event or main roster bound pretty soon because I wouldn't be shocked they try to include him into the bloodline. I mean, I like him. Do I think he still needs a little bit more character development? Yeah, but otherwise, I mean, he's pretty good. I just got to see some more from him before I make a complete judgment on him. But I mean, I liked what they're building with him at least. I don't like the name though, Solo Sokoa. Just
I don't
stick with
like
like
that either.
Uso's name.
I feel like he's clearly part of that family, that bloodline, man. It should just had that family name as well. You're trying to almost make him like he's completely a standalone, different, like he's not even part of the family. I feel like with that Solo Sokoa, I mean, look, he looks just like his brothers, clearly.
Oh,
So
easily.
you obviously know who he is.
Yeah, the
And
crowd always
I
keeps
agree with
chanting
what you said about the
Uso.
character development. They need to figure out what direction they truly want to go with this kid, man.
Mm-hmm.
If he's going to be a badass, like if he's going to be a badass heel type of character, is he going to be like a face, but like a still like a edgy face? You know what I'm trying to say? Like they got to find a clear path for his character development, and he just absolutely smashed these guys all in the corner with that
Oh,
ladder.
this is
This
going
is
to be
why I
good.
love
Here it
ladder
comes.
matches.
Boom! That famous Uso back right in the back with that like behind splash.
Solo Sokoa trying to take a climb up that ladder. Cameron Grimes trying to pick him off.
I like the story that they were telling with Cameron Grimes too, what they've been relating to, like, what he went through with his father. Like he's trying to win this with
Absolutely.
his father. I really enjoy that because Cameron Grimes is that type of character that you want to get behind because he just has that feel good type of person. So I mean, I really think that he would be the guy if I was gonna say who I would like to see win this match. It would be Cameron Grimes, but I don't know if you could take that belt off Carmelo right now. I don't know.
I just I think Carmelo has a lot of heat right now. It's going to be hard to get that title off of Carmelo right now. But
Hmm.
I could see a little good rivalry developing between Carmelo and Cameron Grimes, and it would probably be a really good one because I've always been a fan of Cameron Grimes. He actually used to wrestle in Impact Wrestling (TNA)
Hmm.
before he was here in WWE NXT. And he was always pretty solid. He was always a contender in the X division over there. Held that title down for a long time. Been in some big time matches against some big time stars over there too, man. So Cameron Grimes is always a guy I always kind of respected. I was actually excited when he did come to NXT. I'm waiting for him to take that next step here, and maybe it could be in this ladder match, but maybe it could just be sometime soon. But I wouldn't. I'd be on board with a nice little Cameron Grimes Carmelo Hayes
Oh,
rivalry
that's not
going
going to
forward
feel
into
good.
this. Nah, it's definitely not going to feel good in the morning.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I've always liked his character. I think his character connects very easily with the fans. I mean, he's just a very likable guy. He's got great charisma. Remember when he first came out and he had that confusing gimmick? He was very like, not you didn't feel like he had anything in terms of charisma at all. And the second they turned him into like that redneck, like swamp guy type deal, and then he just started to ooze all that charisma out with the to the
Absolutely,
moon stuff.
absolutely.
It just
They found a
really turned.
direction.
Absolutely. Nice move by Waller right there.
That was beautiful. It was like a little cutter off the ladder.
I think he did
Grayson
that thing where
Waller
he
touched the title.
I think he did
Carmelo
that
has
thing
had
where he
none of
rolled
it.
in. Like he does that roll in thing with the ring and then he does
Yeah,
that cutter thing. He's
Carmelo
talented as hell
Hayes,
too.
ever so opportunistic, trying to. Now it's just a back and forth. Everybody trying going for the gold. Carmelo getting ready to do. Ooh, that's one way to
I'm
get him down. Yeah, it's
I'm waiting
Carmelo
for
Hayes,
Poison
man. He's a
Rana.
star, man. He is an
He
absolute
is.
star. So
WWE better not screw this kid up.
how do you feel
Nice
about the
move.
title match later? The ladies, Mandy Rose defending in the Fatal 4 Way.
I mean, I think Mandy Rose has been doing the best work that she's done, period, in her career. I really like how they turn her into like this just, she's got like that sexy badass. Like they turn her into like this evil, sexy badass woman who's actually looks like she's improved a lot in the ring. So I'm really enjoying her character development in NXT. I mean, Kaylee Ray, the arguably the best women's wrestler to come out of NXT UK. She held the title for over 600 days as the NXT Women's UK champion. I mean, Io Shirai, enough said. The woman is one of the best women's wrestlers to ever come out of NXT. And I mean, Cora Jade is the it girl. Everybody really loves Cora Jade right now. She's like that spunky little it girl that everybody just wants to try to get behind. So, I mean, like what happened earlier with the fact that JC and Gigi lost their titles, we could start to see some dissension in that group. Oh man, that sucks.
Jeez, Solo Sokoa.
Oh, what a spot by Santos.
Ugh. Solo
Oh,
Sokoa may be out of this match for a
that was
little
nice.
while.
Sunset flip into a power bomb right on the ladder in the corner. That was a nice combo move. Jesus. Oh,
Santos Escobar starting to assert himself.
this dude's hella talented. In terms of the match again, I think the best booking decision might be because she's red hot right now and because she's starting to get everybody behind her. I think it might be time to give the title to Cora Jade. I think it might be that time to just give that title to Cora Jade and let's see how she does with the little title run because everybody's getting behind her. She has like that lovable baby face type deal going, and I mean, it's going to start seeing some dissension within Toxic Attractions. Plus, you have the Wendy Chu factor. Is she maybe going to come back and screw Mandy Rose out of the title? I mean, Io's already done her thing as champion, and same thing with Kaylee Ray. I think it should be Cora Jade's time right now to win.
I mean,
Oh my God.
yeah, I don't feel like EO has any more thing else to really to prove here in NXT at all. I don't know if they have any plans on taking her up to Raw or SmackDown, but I just don't see any. I don't see what she can really any more she can really get done here in NXT. She's had all the titles, she's had all the gold, She's had great runs. She's been one of the most dominant female performers. I love Cora Jade. I'm not 100% sure if, Electra Lopez.
Yeah.
Woo!
Look at
But
this.
but Cora Jade, I haven't. I'm not sure if she's quite ready for a true title run yet. I can still see Mandy Rose possibly coming out of here with that gold around her waist, and then maybe just really, it could still also maybe help to start cause a little ripple effect in toxic attraction, as she's going to be the only one holding gold. But
Hmm.
I think I see it. I could think I can see Mandy Rose actually successfully defending this title some kind of way tonight. I can see Gigi Dolan and JC Jane almost falling back to a position where they're just more or less her flunkies now, too. Something like that. I can see that storyline starting to kind of turn in that kind of direction, where they
Hmm.
become more just her flunkies as opposed to like her equals in this faction.
Which I hope they don't do yet because they got something really good with that group right now, and I just hope they don't start to break up too much because the thing is, they got something working really well with those three as a trio. I mean, they've been the most dominant faction on that brand, and I'm afraid if they take the title away from Mandy Rose and they break up that group, that
Oh my god.
do we do you really see JC Jane and Gigi Dolan doing well on their own? I think Gigi might be okay on her own. I don't know about JC. I think JC could get lost in obscurity because Gigi at
I
least has a
actually agree.
presence. Gigi,
I
I think
mean,
at least has a presence. Ooh,
with that orange hair, whip that orange hair around, man. Like you said, you're gonna always be noticed, man.
she got the
Gigi
flower
Dolan is
too.
also. You got Solo Sokoa making this climb. Santos Escobar jumping on the other side of the ladder. I don't
Oh,
see
you must be a
anybody
little
else in
bit.
sight right now.
You must be a little
Trick
bit ahead of me
Williams is
right
pushing.
now.
Trick Williams pushing them both. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of you.
No, no, no. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm just following the match. But yeah, I think it's mine's yours is just a little ahead of me, but it's all good.
Oh, I'm sorry
Trick
about that,
Williams,
brother.
I love the fact that they added Trick Williams to Carmelo Hayes too. I think he's actually a very underrated mouthpiece, like a sidekick to Carmelo. So I actually
Yeah.
enjoy his work with Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, I do. It works together. They work really well together. But right now we got Basola. But right now all their like everybody's little stooges and everybody has just been getting involved in the last few minutes of this match, heavily involved. And Trick Williams just paid a big price for his involvement.
See, I don't
And
know how I feel about that. I mean, I like that they're getting everybody sort of involved, but at the same time, it kind of makes the match like a little, oh, that's pretty, Jesus Lord. That kind of makes it a little bit too clunky, though, too, when you're throwing like all these different factors into a ladder match. But
yeah, I
sometimes it could
agree.
work, sometimes it could. I mean, I don't think it's affecting the ladder match at all. I mean, I'm enjoying the hell out of this, but you don't want to throw too many people into a ladder match because it sometimes makes it really clunky. But I mean, this match has been fantastic so far. What they're doing, I think
I
everybody's
mean,
doing a great job right now.
it's been high pace. I mean, you guys appear to be working pretty safely, all things considered. And
Hmm.
that's always ultimate what you want to see. Oh wow, we got
And you're letting everybody get their spots in too. So it's not like one or two people dominating in the match. Everybody's getting their one or two, their big high spots in there.
now we're getting multiple ladders set up.
Oh, you know
we're
it's
going
coming. They're gonna
getting ready
start
for, I guess, a big
stacking
finish
ladders next to each
here.
other. Yep. Everybody's just
Got
start stacking
everybody on
ladders.
ladders. Everybody on ladders now at this point. Literally everybody in this match on ladders right now.
Now I got a question for you, Mac. Out of these five guys in this match right now, do you see whoever wins, whoever ends up being the winner of this match? Do you see any of these people destined for the main roster coming up? Since after WrestleMania season is when they start debuting people on the main roster.
Right now, I think Carmelo, you got to with his all the heat he has down here in NXT right now. I think you got to keep him down here right now, especially if he hangs on to this title.
Hmm.
Grayson Waller, I think he's right now somewhat a little too similar to Austin Theory to put up to the main roster right now.
Hmm.
That's my opinion of him. And Solo Sokoa would actually have kind of already a built-in storyline on the main roster that he could just kind of jump right up into. And then if you take Santos Escobar, I feel like you got to move the whole faction up So I'm not sure if WWE if they're ready to do that as well. I think Sam Escobar could be ready for the main roster, but I'm not sure if the whole if the rest of the faction is quite ready yet for that kind of step up.
I've got to be honest. I'm worried about Santos Escobar because the WWE has been notorious for not really knowing how to handle like the luchador type wrestler in the main roster. They tend to fumble it a lot. So I'm very worried. Nice, that was nice. Like that, I'm very worried about how they handle the luchador wrestler on the main roster because they tend to just like drive away from them or just not book them correctly. So I worry about Santos. And if you take Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza away, Vince is going to pretty much throw them into obscurity because they really don't have any identity on their own without this group. Santos, maybe you can get far because the guy does have charisma and a presence to him. The other two guys have nothing. I mean, you maybe could put them in a tag team.
So, excuse me, Jeff.
No,
Omni
go ahead.
Fire, thanks for stopping in the chat, man. The match is still going on. The ladder match opened up the show tonight. It's the ladder match for the North American title. Carmelo Hayes defending against Solo Sikoa, Cameron Grimes, Grayson Waller, and Santos Escobar. It's been a very exciting match thus far. It looks like it is kind of winding down. These guys have been taking an absolute beating throughout this match. Thus far, it's been great action. Been a lot of great action going on. And I'm glad you stopped in. Omni Fire, please, if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button for me and New York Jeff, please. We really would appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you. And that was a beautiful cave-in on the ladder by Cameron Grimes. Oh, you know they got something. They got a spot coming with those ladders.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that moment you're waiting to see what
Grayson
happens.
Waller has in mind, but he has bad intentions. It is bad intentions.
Oh,
thank you, Omni Fire. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for stopping by.
Oh, my.
What are you going to do, Grayson? What are you going to... Oh, Lord.
Oh, my.
Oh, man. Oh, look at Trick. Oh,
Carmelo
man.
Hayes.
Look at Trick's mouth. He's like, what the?
Just dodged a major. He just dodged disaster.
Dude, he might have broke his arm. Arm.
Seriously.
Jesus. You see how his arm hit the ladder? He could have broke his
arm.
On
the title.
Oh, my.
Santos Escobar.
Jeez.
Stop to all of that. Oh, that he did hit. I can't remember what he calls that move, but and Cameron Grimes with the big cave in, and he's standing all alone.
The Phantom Driver.
And he's climbing it, and I spoiled it for you. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
Cameron Grimes got it.
Cameron Grimes for the win.
For the win.
And he's about to take that title to the moon. Congratulations, Cameron Grimes. Big up, man. Big time W, man.
You know what? When they were doing that story with Cameron Grimes, it just felt like he was going to win it. There's no way they can keep doing that feel-good story without Cameron Grimes getting that title. And he's ready to take that step into becoming a champion. So I think it was the right move.
And do we possibly get a Carmelo call up? And now we see that he's dropped this title, man. That's been one of those notorious things with WWE too. Guy drops their title, next thing you know, after a good title run, next thing you know, they're up on the main roster. Carmelo Hayes, he's ascending, man. I think he's a natural superstar. Maybe Vince wants that on Raw or SmackDown.
I don't know. I don't think we're going to see it right now because he's going to want to get his title back. Plus, they're not going to want to take him away. They're going to want to see this kid maybe go for a world title in NXT because he might be maybe that's a reason why they thought about him dropping it, because this kid may be ready to take that step into becoming a world champion and not just the North American champion. So that's maybe a reason why they took the title off of him. So I don't think this affects Carmelo Hayes at all. I mean, he had a good run as NXT North American champion. This kid has just still got superstar written all over him. And I mean, now the question, they'll probably have a program with him and Cameron Grimes going into maybe the summer months. Maybe they have a match against one another at SummerSlam weekend. And then maybe they start taking, maybe he elevates himself towards the world title later this year, possibly in next year.
I mean, that's ideally the way you laid it out is the way it absolutely should be. But we're talking about WWE, man. Here lately, they seem to make quick decisions, and I feel like they don't think it out like quite like that. I mean, the way you just laid it out is absolutely pinpoint perfect way it should go down. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
not sure if it actually will go down that way. And I don't know. I mean, they seems like I said, when these guys drop their titles, man, after like long, nice, good run title runs, they seem to like want to move these guys up right away. And I just feel I see this star quality on Carmelo Anthony. I mean, excuse me, Carmelo Hayes,
Whoa.
Carmelo Hayes. That
He does
that
kind of
Vince
got that Carmelo Anthony type deal to him.
that Vince McMahon might just want to sink his teeth into. But we'll see. Like I said, I hope it plays out the way you described because I would much rather see that. Like I said, I would love to see a nice little Carmelo Hayes, Cameron Grimes feud going forward right now for a little bit. That would be a fun. I think that would be really fun to watch, man.
Hmm. I don't think Carmelo Hayes is necessarily ready for the main roster yet. He's been looking really good in NXT, but I think this kid still needs some more time in NXT, especially when you got the people that they're trying to push in terms of maybe some younger stars on the main roster. And it's going to be really hard to throw a Carmelo Hayes in there, especially when you got Braun Breaker, who feels like any second could be destined for the main roster. You got Gable Stevenson coming in, who you know Vince McMahon is going to push him to the moon when he comes onto the main roster. Do you really think you want to throw in Carmelo Hayes in there too, who he's probably at best would be the third guy out of those three guys? So I think it's best to keep him in NXT, keep building him up, maybe get him into a world title program eventually, and then maybe in a couple of years you think about bringing him to the main roster, but not right now. I think you'd be doing more harm to that kid than help.
I totally agree with you. I just know that they seem to tend to do make those kind of decisions, especially here lately the last couple of years. So I hope, like I said, totally hope it plays out the way you the way you described it, man, because that's
Hmm.
spot on the way they need to run with him, man. I agree. Not as good as he is, still have to humble himself a little bit and understand. I don't. He's still young. He's still probably not quite ready for that big time on the main roster, but I mean, like I said, I also believe the kid's a natural superstar, so I'd support him 100% and wish him the best. I just hope that like you said, he does stick it out down here in NXT and they keep him down there for a little bit and keep building his character and his persona down there. I got a question for you, man.
Shoot.
Tonight, between tonight or tomorrow, man, are you hoping for any other kind of surprise that we haven't maybe talked about too much yet?
I'm
Like any other big surprise that could possibly happen that hasn't really come up yet?
I mean, it is WrestleMania, and WrestleMania would be the time that you'd want to have those types of surprises. I mean, there are rumors running around that The Rock could end up showing up sometime because they are building that potential match coming next year with The Rock and Roman Reigns. And there have been little rumblings coming out that The Rock might show up sometime in this WrestleMania weekend, and maybe he has some type of impact in the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match. Maybe he screws Roman out. Brock wins that championship, and it could start building that feud between The Rock and Roman Reigns because that match does not need a title at all to be successful. So, I mean, they could do that. That's probably my biggest guess in terms of surprise. I really can't think of anybody else off the top of my head because there's really no independent stars out there or anybody that's certainly a free agent that could come in. But
Well,
yeah, The Rock would be my one that I would think could be a potential surprise.
that would be a good one for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing if any potential. Like I'm still waiting. A first young lady I'm a fan of, man. She's been out for a long, substantial amount of time, and I'm wondering when we're going to see a return of Oscar back in the WWE ring. I'm not sure the extent of the injuries she's had and been dealing with, but she's been out for a long time, and I'm wondering,
Hmm.
do we get some potential Oscar maybe popping back up tonight or tomorrow?
I can give you another one too. What about another person that's been out for a long time that was on top of her game? Bayley. Bayley's on her way back too. So I mean,
Bailey's
there's been
been
rumors about her coming back as well.
Yeah, Bailey's been looking pretty good, walking, moving around, working out. So she could be pretty close to getting back, returning. She was at the where was she at the Nets game last week? I believe
She
one of
was
the
there with Aaliyah, yeah.
So yeah, Bailey's been looking pretty good lately too, from things I've been reading up about. So maybe see a return. I want to see something like something big like that too. I don't these women matches tonight are awesome, but I want to see them. I want to see them turn up a little bit. I want to see like somebody like that come back. I want to really get Oscar back, especially if there's any potential of like a maybe Io Shirai moving up to the main roster, and if you bring Oscar back, it could be like a new revamped version of the Kabuki Warriors up there and try to elevate the women's tag team division. Anything you can, I mean, they do start thinking. I think thinking like that and those type of thinking like in that kind of way, man, and start trying to elevate this. Looks like we got Tommaso Ciampa.
Mac, I was just going to say, man, this is the end of an era for one of the greatest NXT superstars in the history of that brand, Tommaso freaking
I
Ciampa.
agree.
If you
Do you
are a
think?
wrestling fan, I'm sorry, I'm just going off on a Tommaso Ciampa appreciation because
Oh no, absolutely, that's my guy.
if you want to
Blackheart,
talk
man.
about one of the best heels, not only in the WWE but in wrestling, go watch Tommaso Ciampa's feud with Johnny Gargano when he was that prick asshole, didn't care about anybody heel who came out to F you Ciampa chants during that time against Johnny Gargano with the patting on the back, the sinister evil look, the crutch. You want to talk about wrestling that drove you in as a fan? This man right here was on top of his game as a heel, and I will never forget what he did for this company in NXT because he had the world in his palm when he was that sinister heel in that feud with Gargano. One of the best feuds I personally can say I've ever seen. Period.
It
With what
it
that the work
absolutely
he did.
was. It
And
absolutely was. I think what it was the heel when he the heel turn when he stabbed Johnny Gargano in the back was so shocking that just set the tone from immediately for that feud because that was
mm-hmm.
such it was so nobody saw that coming. You mean DIY was ultimate best friends, best buddies. He's walking back there, they embracing each other, walking back there. This guy's arm around Gargano, and the next thing you know, just bam, just absolutely took him out, man, and took him out. I mean, it was bad. It wasn't like he just like gave him a couple little quick chair shots. He took him out,
Mm-hmm.
and it was pretty awesome, man. Ciampa this is definitely apparently going to be his last match in NXT. Hope the
Oh,
future
look
is
at
bright
that.
for him.
He just did Triple H's entrance. Just did Triple H's famous entrance on the edge of the ring.
Oh, Ciampa's
And
been
Shawn
playing.
Michaels. And Shawn Michaels.
He's been paying a lot of tribute to people lately. I don't know if you caught him a couple weeks ago when him and Braun Breaker were going against Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, man.
Yes, I
But
did.
they came out dressed like the Steiner brothers, man. It was pretty awesome, man.
I mean, if you've been talking about it too, you know what they built? That built feud between Gargano and Ciampa. A lot of it, and a lot of people did say it was a resemblance of Shawn Michaels versus Triple H from 2002, 2003 time. That Ciampa was like the evil, sinister Triple H type character, and Gargano was a lot like Shawn Michaels, that lovable guy you just want to get behind. So I
This is
mean,
what you love, man. I'm sorry. This is what you love, though. Ciampa is absolutely showing all the love and respect he has for Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and this organization for what they've done for his career thus far. Obviously,
mhm.
this is going to be his final match in NXT, and he's just right now paying tribute. And I just love to see people that have that level of respect, man, and understand, you know what I mean, what it takes, what it's taking to get here and to get to the point where he's at now, and just showing the appreciation to the guys that helped him get there, man. I feel like, how do you feel like this match is going to go down? You think he's going to help get Tony D'Angelo a little more over, and
Yes.
help get his character boost and take the L here. I also believe that's going to happen too. because that's just the character of Tommaso Ciampa, man. He's getting ready to move on. He was in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal last night as well.
Mm-hmm. And I've liked Tony D'Angelo when he first came in because his character, he's got great charisma. I think his character, if you can push him a little bit more and make him a little bit more redefining the ring, I think this guy has a chance to be one of the faces on NXT for the coming future because he's got a presence to him. And I mean, if you get the chance to go off in Tommaso Ciampa's last match in NXT, what he's done, and you're the man that's essentially be his last match here, and if you find a way to go over, that just shows what NXT right now thinks of Tony D'Angelo. So I think the right move would be to give D'Angelo the win and let him get that big victory, which is going to catapult him maybe into like that next level on NXT. So I think the match is going to be solid. I mean, how can you not love Ciampa? And I mean, D'Angelo has the makings of becoming a pretty good star, a pretty big star on this brand. So overall, I mean, I'm going to enjoy this a big time. And good for Tony D'Angelo too, because he's been a little bit of obscurity recently. He hasn't really had anything going on for the past few weeks. And now at least he's got this opportunity to knock off one of the biggest stars in NXT history. So I'm just looking forward to watching this. And there's Ciampa's famous clap and pat on the back.
So I could honestly see Tony D'Angelo getting a big win here on Ciampa, Braun Breaker winning his title back tonight, and then maybe beginning to possibly even start heading in that direction with Tony D'Angelo maybe trying to take a little run at that title. Because I like what I'm seeing. I like the way they're building Tony D'Angelo. He had a big feud with Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne got him over. Now he's sitting. Now he's going with another big time superstar, and Tommaso Ciampa, who's I feel like is getting ready to put him over even more. And I feel like after two rivalries like that, well, how much more up can you go other than to the championship level? You know, so I can see something like that happening tonight because there's no way I can see Dolph Ziggler walking out of here with the NXT title tonight. Braun Breaker is definitely going to bring that back to NXT, I believe.
Oh no, Dolph Ziggler's main goal in this match with this huge crowd here is to help make Braun Breaker an even bigger star. And if there's any guy that I would want in the ring to help elevate somebody to become a bigger star, it's Dolph Ziggler, because the one thing that guy will do is put on a fantastic match. He will sell the hell out of the moves that Breaker is going to do, and he will help elevate Breaker to the next level. So that's the reason why I think they gave Ziggler the title, not only because he's been in the company for 19 years. It's a respect factor, what this guy has been through, the types of matches he could put on, how he can elevate talent to the next level. So they figured give him that NXT title run, add another credential to his overall championship reigns in terms of his resume in WWE, and then give him a chance to elevate one of the biggest potential new stars in WWE right now. So I think it was the smart move to put Ziggler in this match in front of a large crowd to help get the most out of Braun Breaker and take him up to that next star while giving Breaker that big moment in front of the crowd, the home Texas crowd.
Totally agree, man. That's like that's probably one of the best stars they could have got in that spot, like you said, to help get Braun Breaker even more over. Like I said, he's already over anyway, obviously, but this is going to help really truly elevate him. He'll become a two-time NXT champion at this already stage. I mean, he's still very early in his career, so I mean, already having these accomplishments under his belt, man, it's just they're truly shooting this kid to the moon, man. It's just a matter of when he's going to officially take off.
Just be careful.
Good match so far.
It has been. It has been. It's in a nice, like, slow pace, which I like that they're transitioning from like a crazy, fast-paced type match to more of a mat wrestling type deal, ground and pound, which is a good change of pace to have in a wrestling pay-per-view, so you don't tire the crowd out completely, which I'm enjoying.
This is it actually is, because actually, like you said, coming off of that last match, that ladder match, you said so much high energy in that match. This is definitely like a lot more mat wrestling, letting the crowd, just sit back in their seats a little bit more, relax, and just enjoy a good wrestling match.
And I was going to ask you too, Mac, what's your feeling been so far and like, how do you feel about this new NXT 2.0? I know we've been groomed to watch the high flying indies type style NXT that Triple H built for the past 6-7 years beforehand, and you could tell they've obviously transitioned away from more of the indie style wrestlers that they have in the company to more of the college athletes, fitness models, former models, those types of people they're bringing into the company now. Maybe not, maybe some amateur type wrestlers as well. So it's a nice transition. I mean, it's had obviously some trouble connecting with the new audience because they're so used to the Aleister Blacks, the Johnny Garganos, the Samoa Joes, the Adam Coles, the Undisputed Eras, those types of people, the Tony Storms, Shayna Baszlers, and now they got to
Yeah.
got used to this whole new crowd of wrestlers that they've been trying to build for the past year or so. So I'm just like asking, like, what's your opinion so far on what you think overall of this new NXT look?
Well, here's my thing. I've always liked NXT as a brand. I feel like over the last few years they've been to me a better brand than Raw or SmackDown, to be honest. But this NXT 2.0, what I love about it the most is truly making a true effort to showcase the younger talent, and it's looking more like what it's supposed to be, a developmental, developmental brand. As far as, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, these guys are professionals, all professionals, obviously, but it's starting to showcase the younger talent. Like I said, Carmelo Hayes just dropped his title, but he was had an amazing run as North American champion. You got Braun Breaker in the title mix already. He's already won the title once, and he's, like I said, I'm pretty sure Destin going to win it again tonight. I mean, today against Dolph Ziggler. You got, like I said, this match here that's happening right now. Tommaso Ciampa in there with another one of the young upstarts, Tony D'Angelo, like helping get this kid over even more. He would have, like I said, he had mentioned the feud he had with Pete Dunne, who is now known as Butch on SmackDown. By the way, for anybody who didn't know, Pete Dunne is now on SmackDown in a faction with Sheamus and Ridge Holland, known as Butch. But
Butch.
but yeah, so he's. I'm just liking how they're putting the focus on the younger talent, even with the in the female division, man. Like you said, you got young Cora Jade up in the mix for a title shot tonight. Mandy Rose is she's a kind of a veteran, but at the same time, she's still fairly young in her career as well. I mean, and so I just definitely appreciate how they're handling that on NXT 2.0. You got these new upstart females, Nikita Lyons, Lash Legend. Like you mentioned, these are like Nikita Lyons,
Fallen
a black
Henley.
belt, a black
Fallen
belt in
Henley's another
Taekwondo.
one.
Yeah, black belt in Taekwondo.
Mm-hmm.
Lash Legend was a former WNBA star, so it's
Got this Tiffany Stratton who's been coming in and showing some
this
stuff lately too.
Tiffany Stratton has been very impressive. Yeah, she's actually Tiffany Stratton is one I want to talk about right now because she
Mm-hmm.
came in and had her debut match, and I was watching that match on NXT that night, and she had a few kind of little botchy moments in that match. Maybe it was the nerves getting to her first match, but she has absolutely every match since then. It's been an elevation. She's been improving steadily every match since then. She's gonna be maybe one of the next top female stars. You heard heard Mac the Giants fan tell you that Tiffany Stratton,
Mm-hmm.
man, is she's elevate. She's gonna raise the bar in the women's division really soon, man. As long as they continue to push her the right way and don't do anything too fast, too drastic. Let her build it up organically the right way, and things. She has a very bright future in the female division here in WWE NXT.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I think she has that look. Nice move by Tony D'Angelo. Nope, kicked out. I thought he was going to get him on that one. I agree with Tiffany Stratton. I think her athletic ability is very underrated. She can go in the ring, so I think she's got the look. I think she has good charisma in the ring. I just think she needs a little bit more developmental. Showcase her a little bit more on NXT TV so the audience could get more familiar with her. And as you know, some of the women that are in that division eventually either start getting elevated or maybe possibly if they end up leaving the company, which is very possible. You mean we've seen what WWE's done recently, where they've let go of some potential veterans on the company and they let them go elsewhere. So like let her develop a little bit more in that company. And I mean, her feud right now with Saray, who's another one. I hope they don't just stray away because I do like Saray. I think she has some potential if they push her correctly.
Well, she would have been probably a star already if she hadn't gotten injured when she first came to NXT. She
Mm-hmm.
had a few matches and she got injured fairly quickly,
Mm-hmm.
and she was out for a substantial amount of time. She probably would have been a star in the female division. Probably would be wrestling in this match tonight in this Fatal 4-Way probably or something like that. To be quite
Mm-hmm.
honest, but she lost a lot of momentum, obviously being out for all that time. So she has to really build that back up, and
Is that
it's
the
actually
Gargano
really
escape?
yeah,
He's
and
got
it's
the
a really good
Gargano escape. I'm
and
sorry,
it's a
Matt.
really
Go
it'll be a
ahead.
really good feud with Tiffany Stratton. That would be a good feud to help build her back up. Wow, these guys have both kicked out of each other's finishers.
All this is doing is just making Tony D'Angelo look better, giving him the
This
time
is
in this ring.
totally getting them over.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, he could even lose and he'll still be over at this point now
Yeah, that's
because
the thing
that's
too.
how good this match has been.
Yeah, that's the thing too in wrestling. Sometimes people get a little bit too overblown with wins and losses and everything. Sometimes it's the match itself that really defines how good a wrestler is. It's like, they could put on a really good 10, 15, 20-minute match that lets both, the DDT on the floor. If you give these guys the right amount of time to showcase their skills, tell a good story in the match, of course you would like to see, wins and losses matter a lot more, but as long as each guy gets a chance to showcase themselves in and out of the ring and tell a good story, that's the only thing that really matters in the total end game. You just got to give these guys the time to tell their
Yeah.
story in the ring, because that's really what defines a great match is the storytelling in the ring. And
Oh
I
wow,
mean, I've seen.
your stream jumped ahead of mine a little bit now.
Oh, it did? Oh,
I
my
guess
fault. I'm
so. No,
sorry.
that's fine. I don't care. I don't. Doesn't matter to me.
I
I'm
mean, I
good.
was gonna say I'm a little questionable. Oh, I'm a little questionable with like a Lash Legend because I've seen her wrestle. I think she's got a lot of work to do still in the ring.
I
She's got a
100%
somewhat of a
agree.
she apparently knocked out Amari Miller, who I'm actually a pretty big fan of. I think that woman's got potential, but she apparently she's very reckless in the ring, sort of like what Jade Cargill was in AEW when she first debuted. And, she's got more work to do in the ring, but I think you probably just saw that D'Angelo got the win, right?
I did. Yeah, Tony D'Angelo for the W, just like as kind of expected. This was Tommaso Ciampa's curtain call in
Mm-hmm.
NXT. So I just want to say congratulations to Tommaso Ciampa on his future. See where it lands him, man. What happens here going forward. So this was no surprise to me to see Tony D'Angelo get this win. Tommaso Ciampa is a ultimate professional, and I know he probably was his pleasure to help get this guy, to help get this young talent over even that much more. And I honestly see a potential, championship storyline for Tony D'Angelo. Not saying he's necessarily going to go out there and win the title, but I can see him getting thrusted into a storyline pretty soon, fairly soon, going for an NXT title, man. So
Oh,
we'll see what happens.
absolutely. Just let this kid continue to build himself a little bit more. He just got the biggest win of his career in front of a large Texas audience against one of the goats in NXT. So that's already a big win for Tony D'Angelo, and that just shows what faith Vince McMahon and the people in the backstage have in this kid. So just continue to keep building him up, and when the time is right, that's when you pull the trigger and let him have a championship. But big ups to Tommaso Ciampa. What a hell of a run, a 7-year run for this man in NXT.
It
Ultimate
was a great
respect.
run.
Standing ovation for this man. Well deserved for what he did at NXT.
Came in NXT, mostly known as a tag team wrestler with his partner Johnny Gargano, DIY. Then they both went their separate ways and built themselves up as individuals, and they became two of the biggest superstars to ever do it in NXT. Man, Tommaso Ciampa, man, this crowd should be giving you a standing ovation right now. I hope they are because you
Oh,
truly deserve it.
I don't want
You
to jump
truly
ahead, but they
deserve it,
are.
man. Absolutely, man.
They're giving him the
Des-
thank you Ciampa chant right now.
He deserves every bit of that right now. Tony D'Angelo is doing the same thing as soon as he walked behind that curtain and was off camera. I guarantee you. I guarantee you.
Oh, that's
This is what it's
stand.
all about right here, man. He is he has been the heart and soul of NXT. And you gotta love it, man. You gotta love it, man.
I just hope that this is not the end for him in WWE. I would really because NXT is taking so many blows with losing these guys to free agency and to other companies, with the Adam Coles, the Aleister Blacks, Johnny Gargano's a free agent now. They've lost some pretty big guys to, AEW or to the independent scene.
Absolutely. So
Whoa.
you do
Whoa.
hope this.
Whoa. Whoa. Oh, man. Oh, man. Wow. This is a moment.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't see. I'm seeing the commercial still.
This is a friggin' moment right here. Wow.
You like a whole minute or so ahead of me. At least I feel like now. Because when I noticed you were ahead of me when you said when you saw the DDT outside the ring, I didn't see that for almost a minute later. At least a whole minute later.
Mine might have skipped ahead a little bit, unless is your Peacock a little bit behind, or did it pause at all?
I don't think it paused. I don't. I never hit the. I never paused it. I don't know. It's just
Sometimes
one of
it
them.
just it just like goes off a little bit. I don't know. It's weird because it's pretty weird that you were ahead of me by that amount of time, and now I'm ahead of you for about 2 or 3 minutes. This is a friggin' moment right now. I mean, if you're a wrestling
Yeah.
fan and you don't love this, there's something wrong with you.
I'm really far behind for some reason. That's weird because I'm still on a commercial.
I'm not. I don't want to say anything right now because I don't want to spoil it for you. That was a moment.
Oh, wow.
You just caught up to it.
I think so, maybe. I'm not sure. I almost want to refresh the stream because I'm just still on a commercial. I don't know what's happening.
Maybe try refreshing the stream. See what happens. I was Triple H surprisingly just came out and pretty much played his music and was embracing Tommaso Ciampa, and the entire crowd just went nuts. So it was like Ciampa and Triple H were having a moment together, and his music, The King, was playing in the background behind Tommaso Ciampa when he left, pretty much symboling that Ciampa is the king. So it was just like
Oh, here it
it's
is
just a
now.
moment right now.
Oh, that's weird. My Peacock is doing weird stuff right now. I don't know. It's tripping.
Did you try
Cause it like
refreshing
showed
it, Aaron, or it didn't work?
it like showed Champa, and then it just like cut away from him real fast again.
Yeah, it did that on mine too. It cut away and then it came right back.
No, it did. Yeah, mine didn't come right back. It just went to like another like kind of commercial thing again. I don't know. I'll see it. I can look it up later and check it out.
It was pretty incredible. That just shows the respect that Triple H had in this for Tommaso Ciampa, and why that guy was literally the king of that brand. So, oh yes, talk about a guy I'm a big fan of in this company right now, Andre Chase. I
Andre
love
Chase is good on the mic,
love
man.
this guy. I love Andre Chase and Brody. I love his pupil Brody. I love these guys. I think they're hilarious in their skits.
Is this the tag team match? Triple threat tag team match for the titles?
I
Do we have
think
coming
so.
up?
I think so.
I like Ivy now. How do you feel about Ivy now? I like what she does, what she brings to the ring too. I
I
love
do
her. I
too.
love the submissions, the cool submissions. She's a technician in the ring, man.
She's got a Shayna Baszler type deal to her. She's very, very pretty polished in the ring. She's got a presence to her, great strength. And I gotta tell you, I'm a big fan. I like the Creeds. I like both Brutus and
Oh, I like. Yeah, absolutely,
Julius's. I like these guys.
absolutely. I
Speaking
like
of
the
this
whole
too,
concept of Diamond Mine. Honestly, I think I really like. I'm on board with the whole concept of Diamond Mine, and this is like the epitome of NXT 2.0. Like it's these young guys like this getting opportunities that they wouldn't get, for
hmm
instance, on the main roster or maybe even anywhere else. You're getting
and
their
there's a
opportunities here in
storyline,
NXT.
and there's a storyline tied in with this too, because there's been a storyline going on that these guys got attacked in their locker room, and there's these mysterious figures writing
Curious to
stuff on
see
their
who it
back
is.
walls. So we're like wanting to know, who are these people that have attacked them in the back and destroyed their stuff in their locker room. I mean, I have a dark feeling, I don't know why, that it could be MSK. That maybe MSK could be going for a heel turn, but I'm not sure. It just feels like it's MSK needs a heel turn, because I think their babyface run is just
I'm
not
not sure if
quite
I can.
clicking too
I don't
much.
know. I feel like they push them so hard in the direction of being baby faces, though, that it's like, could you really seriously buy these guys as heels? I mean, I guess Barely was able to successfully make that transition, even though it took a little while for me to get used to that too. So I guess these guys would be capable of it, but it could be something like that. I'm because whoever it is on NXT 2.0 on Tuesday night, they had apparently made a phone call or something to the Creed brothers and said, "We'll see you on Saturday." So
hmm
hopefully this we can get to the bottom of this tonight. Today, and see who's been behind these attacks.
I think that could easily be a surprise on who it could be. I mean, there's been rumors going around of who it could possibly be. It could be the grizzled young veterans, possibly, as the ones that attacked them. Maybe it's an NXT tag team we don't even really know that could have done it. But I mean, MSK has been a team that could be the ones that attacked. They have Creed brothers have sort of gotten over now and transitioned to a baby face, where they start out as that heel team after the attack. So it could be a way of transitioning MSK to more of a heel team, see how they could do. Uh,
I
I
mean,
wouldn't mind it. I just like give him a little bit of a character change, but
speaking of switching over to like a heel team, how about what if it were those can't remember their names offhand right now. The guys that matter of fact, the guys that Fallon Henley goes down to the ring with and stuff. Those two guys, those
Jensen and
yeah,
Brooks, I
those
think
guys,
Brooks and
Brooks and
Jensen.
Jensen's. Yeah,
Yeah,
what if it was something like that? Maybe these guys trying to assert themselves as badasses now all of a sudden, and
I
trying to
mean
make that go in
they
a direction like
could,
that.
but it would just be so random since they're just starting to push them slowly as like these baby faces, and whichever one of them is trying so hard to find a girl, and then Fallon Henley just somehow magically showed up in this group. So I don't know, and they're pushing them right now against Legado de Fantasma. So there's probably going to still be some more stuff going on with Fallon Henley and Jensen and Brooks against Wild, Mendoza, and Elektra Lopez. So I don't know,
Yeah,
but this
yeah,
matchup, I'm looking forward to this matchup too, because I mean Imperium is awesome. These guys are a great tag team, Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel. And
they are.
then the Creed brothers, they bring that great physical ground and pound amateur style wrestling, and then MSK, the crazy high flying duo. I think this match has got the elements to steal the show too. This is actually one of my
It's
matches I was looking forward to seeing.
it gives you a little bit of everything. You get a little bit of everything here, man, in this match.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what this is feeling like? You remember those NXT pay-per-views that we watched all the time, every single time those NXT pay-per-views were like you got excited to see them because you knew that the card, like the build-ups might not be as good, but the card itself would sell the whole entire show and be just off the charts. This pay-per-view for some reason is giving me those old NXT vibes of like the matches that would just sell the card. Because there's really no matches on this card I can say they're going to be bad. I think all these matches are going to be good.
It was definitely a good, strong card,
Mm-hmm.
and all of their titles were defended. By the way,
Absolutely.
just throw
Absolutely.
that out there. All of their titles were defended on this card tonight.
And they're
Today,
giving everybody time to at least showcase their skills in the ring. Let them tell that story. So that's what the old NXT represented. And that's what I'm glad they're doing that right now.
well, how do you feel about the Creed brothers? They won the Dusty Classic, but they never really got their opportunity at a one-on-one match against Imperium for the titles.
I mean, they're a good, fun team. I like their amateur style background. I think they fit well with the whole Diamond Mine concept. Do I think that they're maybe being pushed a little bit too quickly? Yeah, sort of. I think they are pushing them a little bit too fast in terms of just debuting not that long ago, and they're already skyrocketing to the tag team championships and winning the Dusty Cup. But I mean, they are incredibly talented. I'd like to see them a little bit more show some of their charisma. Maybe not have Malcolm Bivens be their complete mic the entire time or their mouthpiece. But I do enjoy them. I just want to see a little bit more from them. That's why I just don't think they're the right team to right now win this tag team match. And I wouldn't be shocked if those mysterious people that attacked them before somehow come out and cost them the championship. I mean, I think Imperium are going to retain. So I think just keep pushing them a little bit more. Let them build up some more in their resume before you give them that title eventually in a one-on-one straight-up tag team match.
I could see that. I mean, like you said, it's about paying your dues.
Mm-hmm.
And Creed brothers are. I mean, I feel like they're a straight up WWE product. I don't know anything about them on independent circuit prior to WWE. I'm sure they have a little bit of experience down there. I mean, to some extent maybe, but nothing big time. And I mean, MSK for what it was worth, also another former team from the Impact, T,
Mm-hmm. The
TNA Impact
Rascals.
Wrestling, the Rascals. Yeah, so when they came in, they weren't like coming in as some like fresh new guys that haven't been part of like the big time before. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they were just new to WWE. So I do agree with you with the Creed brothers about paying your dues. Maybe not quite ready for the big spot yet. And the fact that if you got teams like a grizzled young veterans that haven't even held those titles yet, it's kind of I feel like is it really right for the Creed brothers to already come in and already just jump all the way up to that level when teams like that still haven't even quite gotten over the hump yet?
I think when Vince saw these two guys, he's like he had tag team championships written all over them because like you said, like you mentioned before, Mac, these two are pretty much built WWE type superstars with their look, their size, their amateur wrestling background. I think they have WWE written all over them, and yeah, I just ooh, these two to me I think if they're continue to push right, they could be something on the main roster. MSK worries the hell out of me when they go to the main roster because I think these are the type of tag team that Vince McMahon will bury
He
and
will.
just like not push at all. That's the
He
problem. That's the
absolutely
thing I'm
will.
worried about MSK because they are talented as can be. These guys could be something if you put them on the main roster. I
Vince
just
McMahon is
worry.
more about the big guys. He doesn't. Seem like he's not as big of a fan of the high flyers. Like I feel like those guys go up to the main roster. Ricochet had so much heat down here in NXT, went up to the main roster, and he's had moments up there, and he's Intercontinental Champion now, but it's never been quite what you thought it was going to be. I feel like with Ricochet, I thought he was going to be like a big time superstar, and it just kind of he's never been able to step anywhere further above that mid card range thus far. Still,
I think a lot of it has to do too is when you hit the main roster, you can't just be about wrestling moves, high flying spots, and stuff like that. In WWE, you need to be able to tell a good story. You need to be able to have a great character, and you need to be able to get it done on the mic and make people want to tune in and see you. Whereas, like an AEW or an Impact or a New Japan, you could get it done with your in ring ability because that's the indie style more wrestling where your in ring skills will define your character. It's more about that than it is about your ability to talk on the mic. So that's the thing right now is can some of these guys transition like a Kevin Owens? Kevin Owens is turned himself into a WWE guy when he was a incredible person in a Ring of Honor when he was wrestling as Kevin Steen. He was able to make the transition into a WWE star, and look at him now. He's going against his childhood hero, Stone Cold Steve Austin, in the main event of WrestleMania Night 1. AJ Styles. AJ Styles, one of the greatest wrestlers in the past 20, 25 years, is somebody that Vince McMahon, you never thought somebody like AJ Styles would succeed in the WWE because, he's just that straight up indie style wrestler, not really like the biggest talker on the mic. he was able to get it done, and he's become a major asset to this company. He's going to be going against Edge in one of the biggest matches on the WrestleMania card.
I
Sami
believe that's
Zayn.
going to be the showstopper right there. That match is going to steal the weekend, man. Edge and AJ Styles, man.
Absolutely. And Sami Zayn, another one. Yes, Sami Zayn's got that goofy type of character, but the guy is money. When he's in the ring, he can go in the ring. He's got a great character. Everybody loves him. And you can make fun of it all you want, but if you're going against somebody like Johnny Knoxville, who is a pretty decent sized celebrity in the movie industry, it's only going to promote and make Sami Zayn look that much bigger in terms of like a star. Silly as it is in the match, I'm not really too excited for. It only does help out Sami Zayn in terms of like the notoriety and the mainstream business. So it's really if you can mix that character in and your ability to talk on the mic with your in-ring ability is what defines you on the main roster. I mean, Finn Balor could be that type of guy too, but I think injuries is sort of what derailed him too, because he got injured a lot
Yeah.
in his main roster tenure. So that's probably what hurt him. Seth Rollins is another one. I mean, look at Seth Rollins now, what he's been able to transition to on the main roster. The guy's been incredible.
Well, Seth Rollins, I mean, I think he's as annoyed as some people might be by his character. There's no denying what that man, what that how good, how talented he is in the ring and out of the ring as far as on the mic, everything, the whole total package. Seth
Mm-hmm.
Rollins is definitely the epitome of that. He has it, man, and he's just a superstar, and he will be for as long as he pretty much wants to be.
Oh, 1000%. I don't know how you. I mean, I know his character comes off as annoying, but Seth Rollins is doing some of the best character work the WWE has right now. He's made you want to know who the heck is going to be his opponent. The whole build of trying to get onto WrestleMania, trying to have that WrestleMania moment this year. I think it's been brilliant. I think his character's been brilliant. I think the build has been great. I love how his character's been acting. And now it's like you want to tune in and be like, who is going to face Seth Rollins tonight in his match? You're just wanting to know who is going to be that person that's going to come out. I think the one thing that they did wrong in terms of his build, I would not have had that press conference with Vince McMahon in his office, and I would have had Seth Rollins come out like a deranged lunatic demanding to have a match at WrestleMania and be like, I want my WrestleMania moment. I want to come out here. I want to know if somebody wants to take on Seth Rollins. I am not going to leave until I get my moment. That's what I was hoping for. So, I mean, I was a little disappointed that they sort of pulled the trigger on that too soon and they didn't wait until WrestleMania to do it. But I think it's going to be. I think Seth Rollins is doing some of the best character work along with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in the WWE right now. So
Mm-hmm.
I can't complain at all. And I'm just curious to see, like we all are, who is going to be his opponent. Is it going to be Cody or is it going to be somebody
Absolutely.
else? And this
Well, what's
match is
going on
delivering
in
right
the
now.
chat? Big play Slay, man. Thanks for stopping through, man. Alan
What up,
Osimo.
Slay?
I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, my brother, man. I really don't mean to say it wrong if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But is Becky going to retain his championship against Bianca? I believe that Becky Lynch is going to retain that title. That's my personal opinion. I think that they're just getting ready for her to have a continue a really long sustained run going at least until maybe SummerSlam. I feel like I just feel like they're not ready to drop that title yet. What's going on, his squad, man? Appreciate you stopping through, bro.
His squad. And I agree with you, Mac. I think now that they added the hair element into the equation in terms of Monday, I just think there's a better chance that Becky Lynch is going to somehow retain that title. Like she's going to go out for revenge, and then they might push this towards WrestleMania Backlash or whatever they're going to call that pay per view next. And
Have
maybe
some kind
that's
of
where, yeah, I have some type of stipulation, and that's where
some
Bianca's
kind
going
of
to get the
weird hair for
title.
hair match. If Becky loses, they got to cut her hair short. Bianca loses, you got to get rid of that long, ridiculous ponytail.
And not to take away from this match because this match has been great so far too. These three teams are killing it right now. But yeah, the question with that is, does WWE have the guts or the balls to cut Bianca's hair and take away her identity as part of this storyline now? Do they have the guts to do that?
Well, that's where I think Bianca wins. That's where I think Bianca will finally take the title off of Becky Lynch because that's Bianca's brand. Let's face it, that is
Mm-hmm.
her brand. That's what people know her by is that ponytail. that's the identity of her character. So it's like she wouldn't be the same without that ponytail at this point. The whole build of her character is too reliant of that ponytail. As weird as that all sounds, it's sitting talking about a damn fake ponytail attached to
Oh
somebody's
yeah,
head. But you know what I mean? It's just that's just the reality. So I think that's where it will come. Yeah, you have a match like that, stipulation like that, and that's where Bianca Belair will finally be able to get over the hump against Becky Lynch because the WWE is going to protect that ponytail.
absolutely. Because yeah, like you mentioned before, if they take away that ponytail, it takes away a lot of
MSK.
Bianca
Am
Belair's
I ahead of you again?
identity.
I might be ahead of
Uh
you again, Jeff. I already know who won.
oh, MSK just won the titles.
MSK just won the titles,
Yeah,
man.
you were a little bit ahead. That was a nice move. The transition from the Hurricane Rana into a powerbomb, that was nice. I'm surprised by that. I'm surprised MSK won the titles back. They're Triple
I
H's
mean,
boys, though. Triple H
I
built
agree.
these two great.
Alan, I definitely agree with you, Alan, with the power edge, and but Becky still has that experience edge on her, man, and I feel like they're going to just this is probably one of their biggest women female rivalries they can have for right now in WWE, and they're going to continue this going on for a little bit longer. And I just think Becky Lynch is going to win that is going to retain the night, but I think going forward, Bianca Belair will ultimately get her eventually. Just not sure exactly when.
And it's been a good, solid storyline, not spectacular, but this has been a storyline that's been probably the most consistent on the main roster. I mean, it's been building since SummerSlam last year when Becky Lynch came back and then she took the title from Bianca. Then what was it? 5-10 seconds, it felt like. So they've been building
Yeah,
storyline sort of as Becky Lynch coming out, coming back, taking away. Oh, I thought something was happening. They're taking away Becky Lynch's Bianca Belair's spotlight, pretty much saying like Becky is still the man. Bianca's still below her. She'll never get to that level again. And it's just pretty much Bianca trying to overcome what happened to her at SummerSlam with all these other little elements come in there, like, the throat injury with Becky that happened at the house show to the one that happened with the chair spot on Raw with Becky doing that to Bianca. So it's just they're trying to they're trying to tie all that stuff in together. It's been the most consistent storyline with a little bit of holes in there between. But I think the match will sell itself. I think Bianca and Becky will put themselves on a great match tonight for the Raw Women's Championship.
absolutely. It's certainly going to be longer than 5 seconds. That's for sure.
Hmm.
It's gonna be a fun one to watch, man. Unfortunately, Charlotte and Ronda are getting most of the hype as far as for the women's division, and I guess you could say somewhat deservedly so. Charlotte, the most decorated female in history of the company. Ronda Rousey is just Ronda Rousey, so that's been getting most of the hype. They're the ones they've been getting being on all the posters, on the trailers, and everything. But I think Bianca and Becky could be actually flat out be a much better match. To be quite frank, might be more enjoyable, more fun to watch. So we'll see how that
Uh,
goes tonight. I'm actually was kind of stunned. Were you surprised that they had both of these matches on the same night? Both of the two female championship matches on the same night.
a little bit, yeah. I figured they would try to mix it up a little bit and spread it out on each two nights. But I guess with the fact that they only have one world championship for the men with the unification, they probably wanted to try to add some more title power over towards the one night. So I mean, I am a little bit confused why they put both women's titles matches on night one, but I think it's because a lot has to do with the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match. So I was gonna say too, which well, you saw the Nikita Lyons promo they just threw out there, right? That was pretty hot.
Mm-hmm.
They're pushing this woman to the moon. It looks like.
Absolutely.
And speaking of to the moon, big ups to Cameron Grimes. Man, if anybody deserves that North American Championship, is
So
him.
that's what 3 title changes already.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually what happens. When they get to the big shows, is where the big title changes usually happen. I'm surprised nobody's retained yet. And
It,
I wouldn't
I'm
be shocked at all if the other two titles change too. I think this has been a
it's
spectacular show so far. I really think this has been a
been a rough
spectacular
night for
show.
the champions.
Overall, though, I think NXT Stand and Deliver has standard and delivered so far. There's really been a great pay-per-view so
This
far.
has been a good show. I'm definitely been entertained every match
Hmm.
so far. Every match so far has been good. It's kept me on the edge of my seat.
Hmm.
So we'll see what's next. I mean, I'm thinking. I wonder what's next. Maybe Gunther and L.A. Knight, maybe, or the
Yeah. Oh boy. I don't know why.
or do we
Joey
get the
Gacy for Joey Gacy. I don't know why, but this guy intrigues me with his weird personality.
He's different. He's
Oh,
definitely very different.
he's different. All right. I
He's
don't know
kind of has
why.
this little eerie presence about him, and his
And Harlan.
this Harlan. Yeah, Harlan is vicious. Harlan, I'm waiting. He's gonna be another one of those characters that he's kind of more like a goon in the stooge right now, but he's gonna end up eventually breaking out sooner or later, and you'll start seeing some real maybe character development with him as well. He reminds me almost of that one guy that was here for a little bit. I can't remember his name. Big, bald headed guy just come down and just massacre people all the time. What the hell was his name?
Tensai.
Nah, he was it was around like a couple years ago before the pandemic, and then I think he got injured or something and just never came back ever.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Lars Sullivan.
Lars Sullivan, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Lars Sullivan.
You know what they kind of reminds me of, these two? Do you remember when Batista first debuted on the main roster with Devon Dudley, when he was like the Reverend Devon, and
Yeah,
Batista was like Deacon Batista?
yeah,
That's what it
absolutely.
got the feel of. Like Batista's that big, menacing sidekick, and Devon's like that controller. I know it's like a different character for the two, but it's like the controlling, talkative type of character. And then all of a sudden, eventually, the big monster turns on his number one. That's what it just got to feel like. Like Harlan is going to become that big breakout star, because they've been pushing this guy as like a potential Brock Lesnar replacement. And there's been a lot of rumors running around that Brock Lesnar might be done with wrestling, period, after this pay-per-view. A lot of retirement rumors have been coming out about Brock Lesnar, that he's thinking about hanging it up soon. So
Well, that would make sense in a way because he's this surprisingly strange like face run that he's kind of on right now.
mhm.
Just kind of was kind of weird. It seemed kind of caught me off guard by surprise, to be quite frank. I would have never expected to see Brock Lesnar on doing like a little baby face gimmick, even though he's still badass Brock Lesnar. It's kind of like more like I was saying earlier, like an edgy face, edgier face. He's still going to get in the ring and kick ass.
Yeah.
He's not necessarily playing to the crowd necessarily, but at the same time, he's definitely not that heel Brock Lesnar that we've all been used to the last few years.
Oh, they are doing the women's championship match next, which I'm not surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Do like championship match, and then do
Then have another
Gunther
bridge,
match with LA Knight, and
do a
then do
bridge
the
match to
world
the title
championship.
match.
Exactly. I think this match is going to be. I think this match is going to be pretty solid. I'm curious to see how these four women work in the match, and if Mandy Rose is able to keep up with Io Shirai, Kaylee Ray, and Cora Jade, because Mandy's sort of the least experienced in terms of being in the ring with her ring
Oh yeah,
work, but her presence alone is just going to sell just like that.
yeah.
I'll be
She's
right
still the
back, Beck. I'm
champion.
just I'm just gonna go. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, take your time, man. But yeah, this match is here. Mandy Rose coming in, like he just said, probably is the least experienced of these four women, but she's coming in holding the gold, man. So, oh no, she's not. She's more experienced than Cora Jade. I forgot about little young Cora Jade, but other than Cora Jade, she's definitely less experienced than Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray. But like I said, Mandy's the one coming in toting the gold, and they got to get that off of her. The only problem with Mandy Rose in this match, obviously, is that she has to she can lose her title without even being pinned. And that's tough for these champions in these matches like this, you know what I'm in these title matches, like in these fatal four ways, triple threats and such. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. In
I
this
was
match
gonna
for
say
Mandy
too.
Rose. I could see Mandy Rose actually coming out here some kind of way, like I said earlier, and figuring out a way to still hold on to her title.
I was gonna say, Mac. How do you feel what they did with the whole Dusty Cups women thing, with Io and Kaylee Ray winning? and then they both decide to cash in for that world championship. Do you like that decision? Because I think the whole Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez thing just came out of left field with them two getting back together after being mortal enemies, and it's just sort of didn't make any sense why you would just throw them back together and then just give them the titles tonight. It just sort of threw me off a little bit why they would just throw those two back together and forget about all the heated, like the hatred they built up with the two of them feuding before for the world title, and then just have them win the championships tonight. So it sort of confused me a little bit, but
Well, how heated the rivalry just was is what makes it a little more confusing for me too, to put them right back together like that. With that being said, at the same time, I I'm not so upset about the Kaylee Ray and EO cashing in on for a title shot for against Mandy because let's face it, EO and Kaylee Ray are not a real tag team, and I
no.
don't think that would have been kind of a forced situation as well. It would have just been like another just tag team you just kind of threw together and just trying to make it work when it's not really organically natural. You know what I mean? They're both single competitors. That's what they hang their hat on. They're not tag team specialists and whatnot. So I'm just, and especially like I said, they're the type that should be wrestling each other, not wrestling with each other, but wrestling against each other. I feel like, and I'm just curious. I think it was a good move not to just force them to go after just Gigi and JC for the tag team titles, but to
Mm-hmm.
make it more interesting and let them enter in this match because let's face it, like I said, I like things Cora Jade is doing as she's coming down to the ring now on her skateboard. Nice little cool entrance here. But I was looking for a little bit more in this match. I didn't really necessarily want to just see Mandy Rose against Cora Jade one on one in this spot quite yet because I'm not really quite sure Cora Jade. I'm not so sure she should even really be in this spot to be quite frank, honestly. And that's not a knock on Cora Jade. I just think she's still so young and has so much more development to make. I know she got over big time in the War Games match and everything last back a few months ago, and she's been working really hard. And I get that, but I just this match did need more than just a to be than just Cora Jade against Mandy Rose, and I think that's the element that Io and Kaylee Ray are going to bring. Man, they're going to bring that extra umph this match was going to need.
I think a lot of it has to do with who Cora Jade is really reminding me of. I think she's reminding me of a young AJ Lee. She has that presence of an AJ Lee coming out, like that rebellious type of character, sort of like the one that can connect with the fans very easily. I don't know why. I just think Cora Jade is just somebody the WWE cannot screw up. I think this woman, this young lady, has the presence to be one of the next big stars in the WWE in terms of the female competitors. She just has that type of lovable character as a babyface to be like a Bailey, to be like an Asuka, to be like a Sasha. She just really feels like that type of character if they build her correctly. That's what I think of Cora Jade. And while I agree with you, I think it's a little bit too soon to pull the trigger on a championship. I think they're just thinking right now with her being in the title picture this whole time, and with the fact that Kaylee Ray really hasn't done a whole lot on NXT yet, and with Io Shirai already being a multiple-time champion, I could see Cora Jade picking up that title with the fact that she and Mandy have been feuding for a while, and it might be time to pull the trigger. So I don't know. I just think Mandy. I think Mandy would be smart to maybe have Mandy retain the championship, and I just don't know why. I just feel like Cora's going to take it tonight. I think this is going to be Cora's night to become the new NXT Women's Champion, and then maybe have Toxic Attraction start to show some cracks in their group with losing all the gold.
Well, we'll see. We're about to find out as the match is. We're waiting for the entrance of Mandy Rose, and this match will be underway.
I love what they're doing with Mandy Rose. Talk about somebody
I
that completely transformed themselves from going from the main roster obscurity to NXT
I
like
love the
that.
fact because here's the reality: Mandy Rose got pulled up to the main roster originally before she even had an NXT run at all. She
Yeah.
never she might have only had a couple of matches on NXT TV ever,
Mm-hmm.
and then she was up in the main roster with big storyline her, Paige, and Sonya Deville and whatever. and she never really got her footing up there. And then they put her in that weird little tag team, her and Dana Brooks, and that never really panned out to anything. And I was so happy for her when she came back down to NXT and really truly found herself. And you see where she is now. Now she's walking out here with the gold, ready to defend in this fatal four-way match. And she's been on a really good title run. She hasn't backed down from anybody. She's taking on every challenge that's come her way. She's got an amazing entrance coming down to the ring right now. This is cool as shit.
This is
And,
pretty nice. She's got a presence to her. And you know what also she's done is she's helped elevate Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, who were sort of just
absolutely
there when they first came in, and putting Mandy Rose with those two has been perfect. They just work together perfectly, and they have really been such an excellent faction since they put that group together. So I'm really happy with what they did with Mandy Rose. I knew she could be this type of star if built correctly, and it took some time to do it, but I think they finally got it right with Mandy Rose, with this character.
I'm sorry, Mandy Rose is coming out here looking hot as ever. I'm trying to tell you. Woo.
They did it right by dyeing her hair black too, giving her like that evilish look.
That works. It works for the character. It totally works.
Oh, she's perfect. This is a Vince McMahon type of female character. The desirable woman who can go in the ring, that's got a presence to her that the fans, the male demographic want and the female demographic want to be like. This is the type of character you need in a female wrestler. And NXT got it right with building Mandy Rose like this. I think they've done a brilliant job with her. And kudos to Mandy too. Kudos to Mandy Rose too.
I hope they don't get it wrong by sending her back up to the main roster too soon. Like I said, when I see these people dropping titles, it always makes me nervous that they're getting ready to make a drastic move and send them back. I want to see Mandy Rose continue some dominance down here in the women's division in NXT for a little bit longer, and truly, before they decide to put her back up on Raw or SmackDown, have her character fully asserted.
No, I agree. And, I think if they build her right going onto the main roster, she can do well because she does have that character a lot better. But I'm just afraid, like you mentioned before, is Vince McMahon just going to all of a sudden sour on her? Because we all know at the main roster, if your name isn't Becky Lynch, Bayley, Sasha Banks, or Charlotte, you're really not going anywhere that far.
Pretty much.
Or maybe now Bianca Belair and to a degree Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
If you're not a four horsewoman or the two that I just mentioned before, you're pretty much going to be put down a little bit on the pedestal. So it's just like, are they going to be willing to pull the trigger on some of these other women in this division?
That's what brings me up my point earlier that I was saying, if we can maybe get some kind of shocking return of Asuka or something between these next couple of nights. Just somebody needs to come back in and shake this division up. And I honestly really wish they would have, Shayna Baszler would have gotten we get a better single run. They keep lumping her in these tag teams that she's not, to me, not a tag team wrestler. She's a single, especially somebody that can stand out alone on her own, and they're not giving her any opportunities. And I'm just curious as to why you think that could be.
I just don't think Vince believes in her. I think they were going to pull the trigger on her before the pandemic happened. And it looked like that she was going to be getting that big push against Becky Lynch when she did the whole vampire biting angle. She bit Becky Lynch, and they were pushing that feud. And I think they really blew it when they did not pull the trigger on Shayna Baszler winning that title at WrestleMania 34. I'm sorry, WrestleMania 35. They had the chance to pull the trigger, give that belt to Shayna Baszler, and let her run with it. Especially with the fact that we all didn't know Becky Lynch was pregnant at that time. So they could have had a chance to have Becky drop the title, go away, just take care of her pregnancy that she was going through before she had her kid, and let Shayna Baszler run with that title. Then maybe Shayna and Asuka can have some type of feud and just see how that goes. But I just think Vince McMahon just didn't believe in Shayna Baszler. He apparently saw some of her matches that she had, and the crowd just gave really no reaction to Shayna at all when she came out. It was very quiet and dull. And we all know how Vince McMahon is. When he hears quiet and dull and no crowd reaction, your push is dead. and he will just turn off of you just like that. And that's probably what happened with Shayna. He just lost faith in her as a potential main event presence in that women's division. And it's unfortunate because Shayna has that ability to be that destructive, menacing, evil woman that she was in NXT when she was a multiple-time NXT Women's Champion. It's just
That's what I was very good at. She was one of the most dominant NXT women champions ever. And I mean, she had great matches all through her NXT run. I mean, Ember Moon, BS. She had a big match against Bianca Belair down there, where none of those ladies were able to get over the hump on her. But now on the main roster, she's just an afterthought. And I understand your points about Vince McMahon's maybe way of thinking, but it's a wrong way of thinking
oh
because
yeah.
Shayna Baszler can get it done in the ring, and she's one of those types that the more you see of her, the more you feed her to the fans, the more they will appreciate her and embrace her. You know what I mean? As far as being one of the top females in this industry, man. So I just think Vince McMahon is dropping the ball heavily on with her right now and really keeps entangling her in all these weird tag team storylines. Like all of a sudden, her and Natalia became besties and became this tag team. This tag team just got thrown together a few weeks ago out of nowhere. I mean, and now they're in the opportunity for the tag team titles, which I don't think they're going to win. But I don't know. I just feel like she's one of those ones that I've been disappointed with the way they've used her over the course of the last couple of years.
You just got to think about it too. Triple H has made Shayna Baszler. That was one of his projects. Was Shayna Baszler down in NXT? You had William Regal as well, Shawn Michaels, who are different type of development. They take their talents differently than like a Bruce Pritchard or a Johnny Ace or a Vince McMahon do on the main roster. And they just looked at Shayna Baszler more or differently as a character and as a wrestler in NXT than Vince McMahon and the others looked at the higher ups. And there's been rumors for years going on that Vince McMahon, he was jealous of NXT because, I'm sure you've heard it too, that all these years NXT has been getting praises up and down for the great, fantastic work that they've been doing with their matches, their build up, while the main roster sucked. So it's just Vince McMahon and his team probably got jealous that these guys are just, they're not, getting the appreciation and the love from the fans our age or even younger that the NXT people were getting. And I think a lot of it had to do too with everything that happened is when AEW debuted on Wednesday. And we all know, if you're a smart wrestling fan, Vince McMahon put NXT on Wednesday on purpose to try to combat AEW. And when AEW smashed NXT for the most part all those weeks, Vince McMahon took it personally, and look what happened. All those guys that were running NXT, they're gone. The only one left is Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Everybody else is gone. Road Dogg is gone. Samoa Joe is gone. William Regal's gone. They're all gone. He revamped that entire creative staff in NXT, and I think a lot of it had to do with the fact they couldn't beat AEW. So, I mean, people like Shayna Baszler and some of those people that are still in the company right now that are on the main roster, I think they got affected because of that. And because Vince McMahon really needs to believe in you as a wrestler on the main roster to give him the confidence that he could put you out there as a potential world champion. Oof.
This match has been pretty awesome too.
I'm not surprised. You put these four in a match that they're going to deliver.
Jeepers creepers.
Yeah, that was a rough fall on Cora Jade. Oh, look at EO. Oh man, I worry about EO too. You better not mess up Io Shirai on that main roster. This woman is incredible. She is the best women's wrestler in the world, I would say. The best. I agree.
Genius of the sky, man. She's phenomenal.
She's got charisma. She's got incredible in-ring ability. There's no way you could screw this up. I think she could even be better than Asuka.
Io on the main roster, it makes me nervous because I'm just not sure what kind of plan they would have for her up there. Because you look at the young lady Xia Li, man. They took her up to SmackDown, and it's like, what are they really doing? This protector gimmick is kind of cool, but you're not showcasing it really.
So look at Shotzi Blackheart. And remember
Yeah,
Tegan Knox? They debuted
yeah,
in that tank and they got their couple of wins and stuff. Look what happened now. Shotzi's not even on SmackDown anymore, and Tegan Knox is in AEW, or she's a free agent right now in wrestling. They
yeah,
just lose sight. Aaliyah, they had Aaliyah debut before on SmackDown. She had a couple of big wins, and where's she been now? She's wrestling dark matches on SmackDown. They just
yeah.
forget about you too quickly. Tony Storm. The woman was going against Charlotte Flair at times, and then they just completely forgot about her. She leaves AEW, or she leaves WWE, and now she just debuted in AEW not that long
Yeah, I
ago.
saw that on
So
Wednesday
it's
night.
yeah, I'm sure you saw the big news with Samoa Joe last night at the Ring of Honor pay per view that he just debuted on
Oh, I
and
didn't.
yeah, he just debuted at the big Ring of Honor show last night,
Oh, wow.
and he's going to be appearing on AEW this coming Wednesday.
Okay, I didn't see that at all. It's been a big week in wrestling, man. It's been a lot of going on in wrestling all week across organizations, man. Everybody trying to compete with WrestleMania week, so got a lot of organizations been stepping up, doing a lot of big things this week.
Yeah, that usually happens. It's always happened in the past where like these other independent wrestling shows would try to put on their big shows as well around WrestleMania weekend, to get other fans that maybe don't care about the WWE to start tuning into their product. You know, Could make a name for themselves as well. And with the Ring of Honor Supercard, I think GCW had some type of event going on. I believe
Oh,
New
wow.
Japan has something, Mission Pro. So it's just like especially now this is the first I think year without the pandemic being involved where they're able to run these types of shows all over the place, so they're just getting back
Yeah,
into action like that too.
getting back to the big extravaganzas that they used to be able to have, having
Absolutely.
Forbes performing in front of sellout arenas, sold
Hmm.
out arenas, and everything. Yeah, but this has been a pretty good match so far. This Fatal 4-Way. These girls have been and putting on a show, laying it on the line. It's exactly what I've been expecting. You see, getting a lot of high flying from Kaylee Ray and Io Shirai. Mandy Rose obviously is more of the mat wrestler, trying to keep things the power. She's the power in this match, kind of the muscle, so to speak, in this match. So it's just been pretty good dynamic between these four ladies. Cora Jade always getting banged up and continuing on, showing her toughness.
It's just hard to hate Cora Jade.
I mean,
She's the prototypical lovable baby face character.
yeah, I mean, she's
I
a
just
young
why I
lady,
just think
man.
this she's just got big star written all over her if she's done right.
She's one of the youngest superstars in the company. Oh my goodness gracious!
And she's
On the
what, 20
hardest
years
part of the
old?
ring. Yeah, I think she's only like 20. I don't even think this girl can even go into a bar and get a drink right
If
now.
she's
Yeah,
20 years old and she's doing, oh, Canadian Destroyer on the outside by Cora.
on the
That was
hardest
nice.
part of the ring.
That was nice. If she's in a title match like this at 20 years old, you know Vince McMahon is incredibly high on her.
Oh,
Has
absolutely.
to be. You wouldn't put a wrestler this young in this type of environment if you were not high on her. So I think if they push her right, Cora Jade could be a major star in this company.
I totally agree with you, Jeff.
Hey, this pay per view has been great. I dare somebody to come out and say if you're a WWE hater because you want to just say this pay per view sucks because you're nuts. There's been
They
no match
will.
on this card that has not delivered.
Well, people will because people just like you just said, haters are going to hate, man. But this has been a really exciting pay per view, and I'm gonna be quite frank. WrestleMania once again, you got to step your game up because
They're standing
NXT
and they're delivering.
they got you off to a very good,
Oh,
impressive start. Got to keep that momentum going with WrestleMania Saturday night.
hmm they have to because I mean, this is your developmental program again that is just putting on a fantastic show right now. And you don't want your developmental to outshine your main product. I know it's two different audiences that they're working with, but you want to try to make sure that your main roster can put on that same type of show that your developmental is. So I know it's a different audience, like that's more of a mainstream, like younger demographic. The audiences are different when it comes to NXT and main roster type television. So that might have something to do with it too. We about to have a
Hmm.
crazy spot here.
It looks like it.
Oh,
Is that
Spanish
EO and
Fly.
Mandy? Yeah, EO and Mandy.
Nice
That's what
Spanish
I mean.
Fly by
I just
EO.
just love Io Shirai, man. She's such a technician, man, in the ring, man. She makes it look effortless, man.
Mm-hmm.
So fun to watch, man. Like I said, I do have this feeling this could be her last match in NXT as well, but we'll find out.
And I mean, I'm not even trying to like make this as a stigma, but WWE has had a very rough time when it comes to the Japanese style wrestling coming up to the main roster where they don't get the certain push that they deserve. I know Asuka has sort of squashed that because she's had herself quite the resume. I know like recently she hasn't been pushed and she got injured, but it's been that sort of stigma that you just can't ignore, unfortunately, that they
I think
haven't gotten the certain
unfortunately,
pushes that
I
they
think
deserve.
unfortunately it has to do a little bit with the language barrier, the fact
Mm-hmm.
that they don't all speak perfect English, and it makes it hard. Cause like you said earlier, being up in this industry, man, it's not just about the in ring stuff. You got to be it's the outer ring stuff too, the cutting promos and things of that sort. And I unfortunately think it may have a little to do with that because you want to be able to put a mic in front of somebody, but if you can't necessarily always just hand the mic to them if they can't speak English properly for your audience. So it's unfortunate that it has to be that way. But I think they may have something to do with it.
Oh, Kaylee Ray just hit her finisher. She gonna finish her off?
I feel like it has to be Kaylee Ray or Mandy winning this match. I would think. Yo,
Oh, Io's gonna go for her finishing move, that moonsault.
hit that moonsault
Beautiful,
on
so
Cora
beautiful how
Jade,
she
and
does it.
Mandy comes in for the steal, and Mandy comes in. I'm not spoiled it again for you, Jeff. Mandy Rose has defended her title successfully.
Oh, the big knee.
So just your boy Mac the Giants fan called that earlier, y'all. I said Mandy Rose for the win.
Good call. That's typical, perfect way for the heel to retain her title. Fantastic fatal four-way women's match.
And one thing I want to say, hats off to Mandy Rose. She did this without the help of Toxic Attraction.
Mm-hmm.
She did this on her own. This was a hard fought match. She got the job done. There was no wonky outside interference. None of that. In a match that they could have had outside interference because in these matches, there is no disqualification. So Mandy Rose did this on her own, got the pin on Io Shirai.
That's a big thing too. Look who
Notice
was the one
that
that ate the pin. Io was the one that ate the pin.
getting someone over, continuing to help get someone over. Like I said, this could be Io Shirai's last match in NXT as well. She has really nothing more to prove down here. She's accomplished everything you can accomplish. And congratulations to Mandy Rose for retaining her title here in a hard fought battle in this fatal four way. The odds were definitely against her, and she is still the one standing tall in that ring holding the gold. Mandy
And also, they
Rose.
sort of protected Cora Jade a little bit too, because she could have easily eaten that pin after taking the moonsault, but they had her. They had Mandy Rose pin Io, so they probably are protecting Cora Jade. And I could definitely see one more match with Cora Jade and Mandy Rose, but eventually Cora Jade taking the belt. Because I think they're going to keep pushing that feud going on, like you said, with Io potentially going up to the main roster soon. Kaylee Ray maybe needs a little bit more time to like build her character up on the NXT TV. So it just feels like that Cora is eventually going to get that title. It's just when are they going to pull the trigger on it?
Yeah.
But that was a
Another,
hell of a match. Hell of a match.
keep beating the dead horse with this Oscar thing. I just cut nose help nose when they just showed the WWE video game commercial. That's another reason I keep thinking about Oscar. I think so much because every time I see this commercial, that like one of the first images you see is Oscar up there holding the two kabuki masks and everything, and it's just like, why do you keep pushing this image in my face so much? It's like, is she coming back soon? Like she's clearly part of the company still, obviously. So
Oh, they're not going to release Oscar. There's no way they'd
so
be stupid enough to let AEW have a chance of getting Oscar. They'd be absolute fools if they let that happen.
so
What do
it's
you?
like
I was gonna ask you, what do you feel about this whole Dexter Loomis, Indy Hartwell, Persia Parada, and Duke Hudson thing? I don't get it. I don't
I mean,
get it.
it's just I think that's just a little something to fill in time and a little bit of extra entertainment, maybe comedy relief. Because it'll
Mm-hmm.
be kind of funny, wonky things happening with them. Like earlier on the pre-show, their little best looking or best dressed couple or whatever they were doing earlier on the pre-show. I don't know if you had caught any of that, but
Oh yeah, no, I
it,
call. They're just replaying what they did on the pre-show earlier with these four. I mean, I like Indy. I've always liked Indy as her character has been developing better. Dexter Loomis, that dude's got a presence when he comes out. You know, like the creepy crawl in the ring, his creepy music, his wrestling ability is very good. I thought they had something really special with Dexter Loomis when they pushed him. It's sort of gotten pushed to the side with this whole new gimmick that they're pushing him with Indy. So I mean, I'm on the fence with it. It's okay, but it's not something great. Uh,
Yeah.
I think they could do so much more with both Indy and Dexter. I don't really know much about Persia yet. I think they need to build her character more. And Duke Hudson does have a decent look and presence to him. I think they're just trying to build. So I think they're, with NXT, I think they're building so many new stars right now that they're sort of putting everybody on a certain pedestal. Of like, it's your turn right now. And then, sooner or later, the next person is going to get elevated. I think they're just trying to push so many new people that it's like a stair system. Like you have to wait until it's your turn to take that next step.
It's also like these characters are just they're like I said, young, new talent, newer talent, trying to find themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's also what it comes. I mean, I feel like it's safe to say we know Dexter Loomis's character is what it is. That kind of weird, creepy, silent guy that doesn't say shit, just draws pictures and he's just weird and crawling around. I think his character is fully established. I think the rest of these, like India Hartwell, was on that little long run with the Way with Johnny Gargano and Candice
Mm-hmm.
LeRae and
Mm-hmm.
such. So she has to kind of figure out who she really is now. And then, like I said, Duke Hudson also. I've been impressed with what I've seen from him in the ring thus far. But like you said, he has to really define his. You got to define your character. And Persia Parada, like you said, she's just a young talent. Also, just finding her way, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, remember he came up a while ago. I forget who was his MVP, and he was Brendan Vink with Shane Thorne. They came up for a couple of main roster matches as like an Australian duo where MVP was managing them for a couple of weeks, and then they just disappeared just like that. And then
Oh
they just
wow.
renamed him. So I mean, he's got talent. He's got a great look. I just think they're waiting until it's his turn to maybe start pushing him. But I definitely think he's another guy that they're going to be looking to push. Oh, here we go. This is one of those matches I've been looking forward to seeing. Gunther
Yeah,
versus LA Knight.
Gunther and LA Knight. LA Knight, I feel sorry for your chest.
How do you feel about them changing his name from Walter to
I
Gunther?
see you branded him all this time as Walter,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what you know him, man. That's what he's known as. And he's built himself a brand as Walter, and then you just suddenly have this weird sudden name change all of a sudden because now he needs to be known as Gunther. It's the same with Pete Dunne and Butch. You move him up to SmackDown. Why has he got to change his name to Butch? Why can't he still just be Pete Dunne?
That's
I
that's
don't
Vince
get these
McMahon for
weird
you.
these weird name changes that don't make sense to me. Like I still call him Pete Dunne. I haven't been able to just call him Butch because I can't see myself getting used to that. He's Pete Dunne. He's built his brand as Pete Dunne is the same way Walter has as Walter, but now all of a sudden we have to refer to him as Gunther. So I don't really to me it didn't really make any sense. I don't get it. I don't know what the methodology was behind it. Never will know. So
It doesn't bother me as much with Gunther because the guy is still dominant as hell in the ring, and it's really his character hasn't really changed at all from when he was Walter. It's just like I know the name change is silly. Why would you do it now? But the Butch thing just makes no sense to me. Well, I don't know why we would change his name. That's got to
and
be a Vince McMahon thing,
and
just
now
because
he's like
maybe
just
Pete Dunne didn't sell as Pete Dunne.
and now he's like some unhinged, just out of control lunatic too. Like,
Hmm.
come on, man.
How do you feel about LA Knight? I love this guy. This guy is
I've always loved
great,
LA Knight.
great on mic. I love this guy on the
Always
mic.
loved him.
When he was what was he in Impact? I forget his name.
I'm trying to remember myself right now.
Yeah, he was somebody on Impact that was a top star. I forget what his name is, but
Oh,
he's
Eli Drake. That's what it
Eli
was.
Drake. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Eli
love
Drake.
his he is great on the mic. This guy can go on the mic
Eli
with
Drake.
everybody. And it's
Yeah.
sort of they didn't change his gimmick at all from what he did in Impact to what he's doing
No.
in
He's the same
NXT.
person, just with a different name.
And it works too because the crowd loves this guy. They eat him up.
Well, like you
LA
said,
Knight.
when he grabs a microphone, it's gold. It's always going to be gold when he grabs a microphone. So
Mm.
that right there is the selling point to getting over with the crowd sometimes, even more so than in the ring.
And this is the type of match I don't even care who wins because I think this is just going to be a great match. I think these two are going to just do so well in the ring. Gunther is one of the best wrestlers in the world. With what that guy did in
Absolutely.
NXT UK, he's got a presence to him when he walks out. He's got good underrated charisma. The guy can go in the ring. He's a great big man wrestler. So I think this guy. Oh, there we go. It's
Gunther
just
Gunther
started.
Gunther had one of the great title runs you'll ever see, man. That NXT UK
Mm-hmm.
championship run he had was amazing. And the crazy part about it was he followed behind Pete Dunne, who had just come off an amazing run himself with that title, and then Gunther just followed up with an even more impressive run. So that tells you a little bit about this guy right there, man. He's phenomenal talent. The
And
leader
I
of
think he.
Imperium.
Oh yeah, and the
And
matches he had with Ilya Dragunov were fantastic too.
Phew. Did you see
Absolutely
that match
tremendous.
when Dragunov took the title off of Gunther, man? Did you that
Oh
match
my
was
god, that was one of the best matches of that whole entire year in any
that
wrestling
was
promotion.
that
How
was a
good
match
that
that was
was.
a should have been that was a match of the year candidate all the way. That
Yeah, but
match was
that's what this guy
amazing.
does. That is Gunther, aka Walter. He puts on match of the year type matches all the time. He's like a special attraction when you get the opportunity to see this guy wrestle. You have to turn on the TV because he's that good. And his
That's a good
you I've
analogy
never
to
heard
use.
people
Special attraction is a good analogy. He is absolutely what he is.
people cheer for him. They cheer holy shit when he does his slap, his chop. That is insane because of how loud it is when he chops. You don't hear that for a chop. But this
No,
guy has like an incredibly vicious chop. And it's what defines his character too. And it's one reason why this guy's just friggin' amazing in the ring. He's a great character to build up too. So I'm happy, like I don't. The name change was silly, but at the same time, the guy, his character hasn't changed at all, and he's still incredible in the ring.
I totally agree, man.
I just think we're in for a treat just watching these two go in the ring. Just give them the time they need and just let them go. As much time as you need for these two to just tell their story and just put on a fantastic match.
We're one match away from the title match, man. This is the, the match they wanted to bridge us into the title match with. I think it was a good choice.
Hmm. And I
See, here's the
mean,
thing about NXT that's a little confusing with some people too, because it's known as, like I said, developmental, but then you got like talents like Gunther and LA Knight that are clearly not developmental talents. These guys are established superstars already. But I guess you got to always have a little bit of mixture of that because you need guys to help get younger guys over. So that's
mhm.
really truly what the purpose of some veterans like these guys in NXT are.
Well, I think in the terms of Gunther, is nobody really knew about him when he was wrestling all around the world, and then he came over to NXT. He was a dominant name all around the world, but some in the United States really weren't familiar with him, or even in
Yeah.
NXT UK. So they wanted to try to build him up more to be more familiar with the United States and especially the WWE audience. So I think they did a good job with him. Obviously, with Eli Drake, aka LA Knight, everybody knew about him, but they wanted to build his character up in WWE terms. So they just threw him into NXT, let him get more familiar with the LA Knight thing, because the WWE crowd is a lot different than, like, say, the independent Impact AEW type crowd. So they want to try to get him more familiar with this type of crowd. So eventually, when you transition him up to the main roster, they'll be more familiar, be like, oh, that's LA Knight. That's the guy from NXT who's really good on the mic and is solid in the ring. And not just be like, where some of these guys, who the hell is this? Like, some of those guys who are familiar with an NXT are women, and then they come up to the main roster, and a lot of the fans just don't know who they are. There's a different audience. So maybe that's what they did with some of these talents. Because everybody was in NXT except for like an AJ Styles, who would just immediately transition to the main roster when he signed with the company. Everybody else was in NXT pretty much when they debuted.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess maybe it depends on also, who's in that company at the time being, and they don't want to just throw everybody onto the main roster because then it just causes confusion with the talent that you already had there.
Yeah, I mean, you just know it get custom over the years though. After WrestleMania weekend, there are definitely a few transitions, and just we'll see how this goes. See how it goes on Raw Monday night. Start seeing some of this stuff transpire. See maybe a few additions to SmackDown when you back to Friday night. Just
Mm-hmm.
always usually happens like that. Maybe be a roster, might be another roster shakeup soon.
That's the thing I'm worried about is that WWE has made it known that they have no problem making some big time cuts in terms of like releasing certain wrestlers, and they haven't done it since I think November. And usually after WrestleMania season, that's sometimes when they do their AKA spring cleaning. So I'm a little nervous that some of these men and women might start getting released soon that are veterans, maybe not getting all the time in the world on TV, or maybe they're just thinking that they really can't do that much more. They've already done enough with them, so they want to try to open up more gates for some younger talent that they brought in. So I'm just like worried after WrestleMania weekend that they might start seeing some more releases from some of the talent on the current roster because you heard Nick Khan say it that nobody on this roster is untouchable. They've been releasing people like crazy, especially last year. So you got to think about that. That it's just a matter of time until some of these stars that we might have been watching might be become free agents soon in the next 30, 60, 90 days and could show up in Impact or AEW or Ring of Honor now, what's going on, or wherever it is. So you got to keep that in mind too for some of these stars if they're going to even be in WWE come after WrestleMania time.
Yeah, that's also you're right about that, man. Because it's always a lot of drastic change after WrestleMania, man, and it's not always positive change.
Mm-mm.
So unfortunately, some people will be probably you're right, probably will be losing jobs as well.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
think
you kind of
NXT
hope they
is.
don't.
I look like NXT is really going to be leaning, really going to that towards that youth movement, though.
They can't get rid of all these veterans though because you need these types of veteran wrestlers in this company to help guide some of the young talent that is
Uh,
sort of getting familiar if especially if their amateur background isn't professional wrestling and they're just trying to learn the ropes. You need some of these veteran men and women on this NXT roster to help guide them and teach them how to become a wrestler in this company. So you can't
100% agree
just
with you,
gut your
Jay.
entire roster. You got to like give some of these people a chance to stay and help the young talent until eventually you're ready to elevate some of these veterans into the main roster, like an LA Knight, for instance, or a Gunther,
No,
or an
I
Io
100%
Shirai.
agree. 100% agree. And as long as I mean these guys are okay with that, that's what it comes down to. That also, these guys need to be okay with wanting to help develop this young talent because some guys
Mm-hmm.
just, quite frankly, aren't down with that kind of assignment. So,
Yeah, they just want to go in the ring and they just want to continue to keep wrestling.
I mean, some guys only care about their own personal careers and don't care about getting young talent over. They just want to still remain and be on top, be at the top continuously all the time. So I
It's
think
also
it's
too with the fact that Vince McMahon just clearly went in a completely different direction this past year with how he wants to showcase talent. He stepped away from all those indie type wrestlers that were in their 30s, mid to late, early, like late 30s and their 40s, and wanted to try to get to more of like an amateur background, sort of like what he did, I believe, in the 80s and the 90s, like that style of wrestler. More characters more than
yeah,
anything than wrestling, which was defined NXT for the past 6, 7 years.
absolutely.
So, I mean, I hope it works out. I like the mix of the indie type wrestling style mixed with, like the amateur bodybuilding type character wrestlers. Like, it's a good mix to have for a roster. I just don't know. I have that fear that some of these guys and women that are on the roster still could be gone soon. Because I mean, why would you release a talent like an Ember Moon?
I don't
Why
know.
would you release a talent like an Aleister Black?
She's been working a lot too on the independent scene lately. A lot of appearances I've been seeing. because I follow her on Twitter and stuff.
Hmm.
So
I think
she's
she's gonna
been
show
getting
up in
some work.
AEW soon.
She's
I
been
think
getting
she's
some
another
work.
one.
Yeah, working her way back up. Probably trying to get her body back in shape and everything because she had some injuries
Well, she had
that
that
really
torn
was
Achilles that could have ended her
yeah
career.
that really were really devastating. And you see the result of the match? It gets over. Yeah,
Is that it?
it's over.
Oh man, I thought that match was gonna go a little bit longer, but I'm not surprised Gunther won.
Yeah, Gunther for the W here. I mean, no real big surprise. At the same time, it could have went either way. It wouldn't have been shocking either way. But they've kind of got Gunther booked as so damn dominant. It's kind of it's hard to even it's hard to tell when you see him lose anyway because it's just like he's booked as such a dominant force that him losing always looks strange when he does the few and it hasn't really happened to be honest that much in his run with NXT.
I
I
think he's
mean
only lost once in like the past,
that
once or
match with
twice in like the past
Dragunov,
year. Yeah,
yeah, that match with Dragunov was like I don't remember him losing any other match since then.
I don't think he did. I think he won every single match. They protected him so much. It's like Roman Reigns style protection, where this guy just does not lose, and when he loses, you're just like you're sort of have your mouth open, like how did that happen? So
Agree, Slay. The Monday night after Raw the Monday night Raw after WrestleMania is usually always pretty interesting show. See how that works out this year.
they do need to do something because they have been a little bit underwhelming in terms of the Monday and Friday after WrestleMania. So they
Well,
do
here's
need
my
to have
thing:
some type of more shock compared to
is
what it was in the past.
Monday Night Raw needs to go back to a 2 hour show.
Well, you're preaching
It
to the choir on that one.
it needs
That's
to go
need to
back to a
happen for
2 hour
years.
show. It's
Absolutely.
just that 3 hour thing. It's just it ends up being like maybe you might get about an hour of wrestling, a little over an hour of wrestling, and then the rest is just a bunch of weird filler stuff, weird segments that you don't necessarily need. It's just they need to go back to a 2 hour show and make it more about the wrestling and stuff, the in ring and some of the cool promos as opposed to so many like ridiculous backstage segments that don't even a lot of them don't even make sense.
Yeah, the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania should be based upon starting new feuds, debuts from NXT, returning people came back from injury or coming back to the company. That's what the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania should be about: is starting new rivalries and shocking returns or debuts. They have sort of driven away from that because I don't remember them doing that last year. I don't remember any debuts or returns at all, and it killed it. That's what they need to get back to. And maybe that's a feeling of what maybe they want to do with Cody. If Cody doesn't come back tonight, hold him off for Raw after WrestleMania, give that big shocking surprise.
I've been
But then
hearing that as a
it's
potential rumor as well, actually.
but then who faces Seth Rollins? Like who are you gonna have Seth Rollins face? And can he lose? Because I if he's not facing Cody, can you have him lose?
I'm
Unless you
really
want him to just go
hoping
completely unhinged.
I'm really hoping it's like we get a Bray Wyatt return tonight, man. That's like that's what I ultimately want to see the most. I hope we can get a Bray Wyatt return, man. When
Oh
I
yeah.
saw that he was in Dallas, Texas, he's Bray Wyatt. He may have some other business there I don't know about, but obviously that's a kind of a coincidence that he's in Dallas, Texas, WrestleMania week.
And WWE's
WrestleMania
got to
weekend.
fix that problem. They screwed up big time by releasing him. They got it. They cannot let that guy go to an AEW or anywhere else because his creative mind alone is such an asset to that company with what he can do. And two characters, not one, but two characters that guy did on his own that put him over with the Fiend and the Eater of Worlds. You
Oh
cannot
yeah,
let that guy go to any other company. You have to bring him back and let him use his incredibly gifted creative mind to come up with, I guess, another character, unless the Fiend is going to come back. So I think the best thing for WWE to do, get him back in the company. Get Bray Wyatt back in the company and roll with it. Let the guy go. But then, if coming with that though, Mac, if you're going to have Bray Wyatt come back against Seth Rollins, you can't just have a one-off and then have Seth take on Cody. I mean, what are you going to do with Cody then? Have him go against the champion immediately? So you have like that problem.
I mean that I'm not sure what they if Cody does come in. I'm not 100% sure what kind of game plan they do have for him. I would think that because he's built his name up to a different level now than before when he was with the company, that
Hmm.
there's no way you can come in and slap any kind of weird Stardust gimmicks on him or anything like that. Nothing kind of. So he's gonna come in and be in a championship mix probably immediately,
Oh,
some
they
kind of
can't.
way.
They cannot screw this guy up. Especially, this is a
So
big deal to them because this is you're pretty much taking away one of AEW's founding fathers of that company. And I mean, maybe it's not a big deal to some, but this is a guy that was a major part of the creation of All Elite Wrestling. And he's coming back to WWE. So you got to build this right because this is not just for Cody's sake. What about all those wrestlers in AEW that maybe aren't getting the biggest push that they were originally going to get? And when they're eventually becoming free agents, if WWE does it right, maybe, just maybe, something like a Darby Allin or Orange Cassidy or an MJF or Sammy Guevara or one of these young, talented guys that maybe AEW can bring everybody back. They become free agents. Maybe they decide to take the swing at WWE. So maybe that's why WWE is releasing all this veteran talent they had because maybe they're thinking about that young AEW talent eventually when their contracts went out. I know Tony Khan's got all the money in the world, but eventually, some of these guys in AEW might want to transition to the WWE side, especially if they see one of their own and a founding father of that company like Cody Rhodes being pushed correctly in the right way. Maybe they decide to follow. Like MJF and Cody, I believe, are pretty close and
oh yeah,
tight. So maybe and MJF has made it certain. I don't know if it's part of his character or not that he might be interested in making a WWE return, and his bidding is going to be something to watch in 2024. That guy is going to be the
well,
center of the wrestling world.
he's a hot free agent. He'll be a hot free agent if that ever comes to fruition. Man, he's not. He has definitely developed into probably the absolute top heel in the industry
Oh,
across
easily.
any brand. So getting
He's the
ready for
next
this.
Rock. He's the next Rock in this wrestling industry with his ability on the mic.
We're getting ready for I mean, he hasn't cut a promo. I haven't liked. It's just he is amazing. His ability to cut promos.
Oh, I
But
agree.
getting ready for this main event. Braun Breaker's got a chainsaw. That's interesting.
Oh, he's coming out with a chainsaw in his entrance.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't remember Rick or Scott Steiner doing anything like that. That's interesting.
But yeah, he's coming out with a chainsaw.
With the NXT colors on it too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so obvious they're pushing this kid to the moon. It's
Oh,
so
way
obvious
to
that
the
this kid
moon.
is going to be a major star.
He already has huge wins on his resume already.
Hmm. And
I
he's
mean,
got the ability to be a major star. Just his talent, his charisma. He can go in the ring. No doubt
his
about it, this kid can be major. Just
his
got to make sure you
dominance in
don't
the
push him
War
too
Games
hard.
match, his
Oh my
dominance
God, yeah.
in the War Games match, and then to go ahead and then take the title off of Ciampa, to at the time who is literally like we said earlier the biggest star in NXT.
Hmm.
So this kid, like you said, they are shooting him. I know Cameron Grimes' catchphrase is always to the moon, but this is the
Hmm.
guy that they're shooting all the way to the moon, as he
Oh
just
yeah,
cut that X in half.
there's two stars that I could easily see being the faces of this company, and I think Vince McMahon is going to hope to push them to the moon. It's going to be Braun Breaker and Gable Stevenson. That's going to be their two big time stars that they're going to try to push to the moon, and that could be eventual big time feud going in the future. You could see a lot of Braun Breaker versus Gable Stevenson in the future. It's
What's
definitely
going on,
possible.
Phil?
How you doing, Phil?
But
I mean,
yeah,
I like Braun Breaker a lot. The thing I worry about, and WWE has had problems with this, is they push guys sometimes way too quick, and the fans start resenting against that, like
they
not getting the
do.
proper build.
Well, it's the purists, the fans that are like, the ones that have invested like years into being, fans of this thing. They don't like to see some new guy just come in and just you're just a superstar overnight. Nobody likes that overnight superstar. We like you said, this is tell the story, tell the
Hmm.
proper story, build the characters up. Character development is a lost art. I feel like in WWE, they just rush through a lot of things. You need to like you were just saying, you gotta build these guys up the right way, man. And I think
I think it's a lost art, not just in WWE, but in wrestling in general. I think a lot of character development has been lost in all wrestling capacity.
that's a very true statement. But
Eh,
right now, I can say with almost 100% confidence that Braun Breaker is. I just don't see what will be the point in keeping the title on Dolph Ziggler. This is going to be Braun Breaker winning this title for the second time and just
mhm.
asserting himself as the alpha male in NXT. Now Tommaso Ciampa is moving on. Braun Breaker is going to totally assert himself as the alpha male, and the sky will be the limit, man. Who knows? Like we were the aforementioned Gunther from the last match. Maybe they thrust him into a storyline with Braun Breaker. Who knows?
Can
I
you
mean, it
imagine?
could
Oh
be.
man, can you imagine that Braun Breaker versus
Oh man,
Gunther? Oh geez,
that.
you're talking about a major match in NXT.
So we'll see what we'll see what happens, man.
Oh, Dolph
Just like
Ziggler.
we were talking about the Raw after Mania, the NXT show after this big event after Stand and Deliver is going to probably be interesting show to also see because one thing that hasn't been addressed on this show also remember the Creed brothers earlier that storyline with who's been
Hmm.
attacking them and everything that's got to all come out too, man. So it's going to be like they got some cool stuff that they can be putting in the works, man, going on to see how they go about things.
In terms of this match, Dolph Ziggler and to a degree Robert Roode have one job, and that is to make Braun Breaker look like the biggest star in this brand right now. That's it.
That's
Just
it.
sell for him, do all these great moves, make him look like a major star. That's all Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode are there for, is to help Braun Breaker look like a major star. That's it. And they've done their job. And that's what Dolph Ziggler and to a degree Robert Roode are good at, is helping push young talent to get over to that next level.
That's
Now, this
absolutely
is,
what it's all about, man.
and remember we were talking about it earlier that you need sometimes these veteran guys in an NXT to help the young talent. Two examples right here. What better two talents do you want in NXT to help out a young guy get over even more than a Robert Roode and a Dolph Ziggler? You can't get any better than those two guys.
Not at all, man. This is like you said, Dolph Ziggler also does have for a lot of people don't understand. He has a very impressive amateur background in the ring in
Mm-hmm.
wrestling. So he wasn't just some fly by night guy that came in and took it to the WWE tryout. He has an extensive amateur background, and that's a part of what makes him one of the probably safer guys to work with in the ring. It helps because he has that strong background from All American at Kent State, man. Dolph Ziggler has some strong credentials as far as wrestling, man.
And you got to think about what he came from when he first started in WWE. Remember, he was Kerwin White, aka Chava
Yeah,
Guerrero's caddy, and then he
yeah.
turned into Nikki from the
He was in
Spirit
the Spirit
Squad.
Squad. Yeah,
And then he was the guy that walked up to everybody like, "Hi, I'm Dolph Ziggler." That was what his career started as, and look what this man has done
like
in
you saw that
19
promo he cut.
years.
Yeah, when he was talking about all that stuff, and
Oh
that
yeah.
promo he cut a couple days ago, and he was like, yeah, like he wished he had like an NXT. There was an NXT like this when he was coming up, man. Like
Hmm.
so, there's no doubt in my mind, like you just said, he's going his job. He has one job in this match, like you said, and that is to make Braun Breaker
Oh,
look
that was dangerous. That
the
was a little
like
dangerous.
like the most dominant star.
Hmm. Oh yeah, and I mean, you can't deny Dolph Ziggler's resume. The guy's had an incredible career in WWE. Maybe not to the expectation that originally thought he would have, but he's had quite the damn good career. I mean, a
Well,
multiple time world champion,
he's
multiple
been
time
pulled.
IC champion, tag team championships all over the place. Now an NXT world championship.
He's
The
been
guy's
pulled in a
done it
lot of different
all.
directions, man, throughout his career, and he's always rolled with the punches, man. He's always been that team guy. He's been great in developing helping get young talent develop. A lot of people might not remember that Big E came up to the main roster in the storyline with Dolph Ziggler. He was like Dolph Ziggler's like bodyguard kind of and stuff like that. So he's
Hmm.
helped put a lot of guys on the map, man. And he does not get enough. He doesn't get enough credit for that. But it's just adding things like this just add to his Hall of Fame resume, man. One day he will be being celebrated as a WWE Hall of Famer because
Oh
he's
yeah, he's no
absolutely
doubt going
earned
into
that.
the W. He's no doubt going into the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's got a very underrated resume. I know the joke in the past was, oh, Dolph Ziggler is that guy that always seems to get championship matches and never comes through. He always loses, but somehow always keeps getting championship matches. The guy is, he's sort of, remember what Chris Jericho was like at the end of his WWE run, where he would be always in championship type matches but never win them, but he would
Yeah,
help try to elevate those talents that he's facing to the next level. That's sort of what Dolph Ziggler has been for the past few years, is that guy that you put into a match that would help elevate some young talent to that next level.
it's like we're getting Robert Roode being ejected from ringside. Maybe need to focus on Dolph Braun Breaker. Dolph
This match
Ziggler.
has had some little scary bumps, though, in terms of the match so far. Some scary bumps they've had.
But that further you goes, like I said, with Braun Breaker, you got to still be, you got to tread slowly, man. He still has a lot to learn as well. I mean, he has a good pedigree. Obviously, his dad, the legacy, he's been around the business his whole entire life. Probably, I'm sure. I mean, his dad and his uncle, two of one of the best tag teams that ever existed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, but at the same time, you do have a lot to learn, and that's part of why you need to keep these guys down here at development a little bit. He was going for that iconic Frankensteiner off the top rope.
That's why, I mean, I think they rushed it too quickly with putting that world title on him. I think they just shot him out of the gate as like, this is going to be the guy, and we're just going to throw that world title on him. I was
Yeah,
not really too thrilled about that they just pushed him that quickly to the top and not really try to develop him a little bit more, giving him some squash matches, give like upping
yeah,
the
he didn't.
talent he faces from time to time, and then eventually having that moment. I think
He
they
only
did it.
had
I
like
think they
maybe
did
a
it
couple
wrong.
of little of those matches, like you just said, a couple of the little squash matches against
Hmm.
unknown talent. You know what I mean? And he just kind of after that, it was just all of a sudden like boom. He went from a couple of those matches to I want to challenge you for the title to Masa Ciampa, and he
Yeah,
lost the first time. And he lost the first time.
which is
And
good because it should have been that way. You should not have
yeah,
him beat Ciampa that quickly. So I thought they did right by that.
yeah, he lost the first time, but then after that War Games match, man, and then that next time they faced each other, it was just like you knew you kind of already the writing was on the wall that they've got this guy in position now. They want to put this gold around his waist and make him the face of this franchise.
Hmm.
Clearly, he's going to be the face of NXT 2.0, and this is just gonna see what he does with it, man.
And you got to think too, because eventually it's going to come to that day where Roman Reigns is not going to be around anymore. You know, he's going to make that probably the next WWE star to transition towards Hollywood, because it happens with everybody, with John Cena, with Batista, with The Rock. Austin did it. Like he's going to be that next guy that's going to transition out of WWE and eventually to to Hollywood maybe, or do some other projects. So you need to
No,
start
no,
grooming your next faces of the company, which I think a Gable Stevenson could be, a Carmelo Hayes if he's pushed right, a Braun Breaker you have right here, even some of the women, because Bayley, Charlotte, Becky, Sasha, I mean, they've been in the WWE for a long time. They're not going to be around forever. They're eventually going to, walk away or move on. So you got to start grooming some other women down
want to
there
start
too to take their
families. I mean,
spots.
they're ladies. They want to start families.
Yeah.
Eventually, they're not single ladies. They're all married. If I'm not mistaken, so they want to start families sooner or later if that's part of their plan. So yeah,
And I mean, even Asuka too. She's in her 40s now. How much more? How much longer is she gonna be able to go? So you got to think about
yeah.
that too. You got to start pushing some of these other talents on your roster, which I think the women, they clearly have identified Bianca and Rhea as their two next big stars in the female division. But you still need more depth on that roster. And in terms of the men, I mean, sure, you have your veterans like AJ and KO and Sammy and Balor and Ricochet and stars like that. Austin Theory is going to be a star, but you need to start building up some more talent as, like, once the older guys transition to either retirement, or eventually if WWE's going to be, making them backstage agents or talent evaluators
Yeah.
or coaches, or even if they decide to release them for some odd reason, You need to start building that next generation for, the next 10, 15 years after that. So maybe that's what they're starting to do in terms of like a Braun Breaker and when Gable Stevenson comes in, or even Carmelo Hayes, etc. Like you need to start building that next
I'll be
group
curious
of
how they use
guys.
Gable Stevenson. Does he come in and go? A matter of fact, he is. He got drafted to what did he get drafted to? Raw
I
or
think he got drafted to
SmackDown?
Raw. I believe Raw. I believe.
Yeah, so they're obviously they're bringing him in. And he's going straight to the main roster. So you're right. You know what? He could very
Oh,
well
they're building him
possibly
as the
be.
next Kurt Angle. They want him to be the next Kurt Angle
He could
because of that
very well
amateur
be the mystery
background.
opponent tonight. I mean, I think I don't think he should be the mystery opponent tonight. I don't think his first match should be WrestleMania against Seth Rollins, but I mean, it could be going in that direction as well. You're right. I really never thought much about that guy until the last couple of days. I kind of forgot about him, but you're right. They could be building. He could be possibly, and I just think, unfortunately, he won't get the pop that like
Oh, the fans are going to hate it.
Co-
They're going to hate him
Cody Rhodes
immediately.
or Cody Rhodes or like I said, Bray Wyatt, for instance, would get. They would obviously receive bigger pops than Gable Stevenson, but and you're right. It could also be a double-edged sword for him. It could be almost setting them up for failure right from the beginning because that could rattle a kid's nerves. He comes out there and the fans maybe just start booing him because that's not who they wanted to see or who expecting to see. Could shake a kid's confidence, man. So
Oh, I actually think it is going to be that double-edged sword because the fans of tonight, they're hyped up with what Seth Rollins has done. They're expecting a Cody Rhodes or possibly a Bray Wyatt. And if Gable Stevenson music hits and he's the one that comes out to face Seth, yeah, there could be some that are fans of Gable Stevenson's work and what he did in his amateur wrestling for the Olympics. But
yeah,
they're not going to be happy. They're going to want to see a big star that they can identify with, that they know about, especially because the WrestleMania crowd is the smart crowd, like our age, the ones that are identified with the indie style wrestling, like, these types of guys. They're going to want that big return or that big debut or whoever it is. They're not going to want a Gable Stevenson who really they're not familiar with
yeah. I
to
mean,
come
he
in
has,
and
like you
face Seth
said,
Rollins. It's really gonna backfire on him.
I want people to, like you said, like you just said, with all due respect, Gable Stevenson, amazing amateur background, did amazing things in the Olympics this past last summer. But and it's not a knock on him. But this isn't that. This is sports entertainment, and he
Mm-hmm.
has no resume in this industry yet. So for his first match to come out there and just be against Seth Rollins, sight unseen, you know what I mean? Like fans aren't going to get on board with that.
Oh,
So
absolutely not. You're just pretty
WWE
much
better
setting
tread
up the kid
lightly.
for failure. Yeah, you're pretty much
Yeah,
setting the kid up for failure, which is a shame. But I think a lot of it will have to do is, I think they want it to be Cody. I still think Cody is the number one option. It's just a question of, is Cody actually gonna be the guy, or is he gonna back out and they're gonna have to go in a different direction? Because if Cody is not that opponent tonight, they might scramble and just be like, you know what? We're going to throw Gable Stevenson or somebody
Jesus.
else out there and see what
Braun Breaker just
happens.
cut Dolph Ziggler in half with that spear. Goodness gracious.
Oof. Oh, boy.
He reminds me so much of his dad, man. It's just
His dad or his uncle?
well, I mean, just the way when I look at him and just the way his mannerisms, he's like his dad. I mean, he looks more like as far as physically imposing, more like a Scott Steiner. But
He's got the mannerisms of Rick, too.
yeah, but as far as like how all he comes down with the iconic barking and all that,
Mm-hmm.
that's just I just like. I mean, I just kind of cool, man. Watching the whole, I didn't, I haven't watched the Undertaker part of the Hall of Fame yet. I'm gonna watch it after this before Mania tonight. But
Mm-hmm.
I watched all the rest of the Hall of Fame, man, and it always it touches me, man, hearing some of the old stories and just the nostalgia, the things they bring up, man. I was impressed with everyone on there. The Shad Godspert
Oh,
winning the
Shad
Warrior
Gaspar
Award,
thing? That was great.
Gaspard winning the Warrior Award. That was just, I mean, I couldn't help. I had the waterworks going a little bit on that and at that part, man. To be honest, man.
Didn't JTG come out and do like the old
Y-
crime time thing with Shad's son?
Yeah, he came out there. He escorted Shad's son and wife out there.
With the old
And then
crime
he and
time
then and then
music?
and then and then he gave them their moment also. He didn't like just want to stand in there and make it anything remotely about him. he escorted him to the ring, did the little crime time thing with his son, and then he exited the ring and let them have their moment, man. And it was really touching, man. It was so far what I've seen of oh my God, of the Hall of Fame ceremony. It was really good, man. I was impressed with Charmel's speech, more impressed than I thought I would have been.
Yeah.
I was like, like wow, she told some pretty cool stories. And then, like I said, Rick and Scott Steiner, man.
Oh.
Scott did most of the talking, but Rick kept it short and sweet, man. I was good to see Rick Steiner, because Scott Steiner's been in the he's been in the mix over the years, appearances and things and such. So you've seen him around a lot more. Rick Steiner, I haven't seen Rick Steiner since he stopped wrestling, literally.
Oh yeah.
At all.
I think you guys had a
purpose,
severe neck injury or something.
You said what?
I think because he had a neck or head injury or something, and that's probably why he wasn't able to wrestle anymore after his WCW days. But
Yeah.
or wasn't he in Impact for a little bit too? Rick Steiner, I forget. Yeah, maybe had a little bit short run.
He might have been back in the beginning. Braun Breaker just had almost a little bit of a wardrobe malfunction.
Well, I don't want to know about that. We don't want that on WrestleMania. Oh my God. Yep, just lost his pants. That was pretty damn. You see somebody that big doing a over the head somersault? Jeez.
And
holy jeez.
He just took Robert Roode out of the equation.
Man, remember when Roman Reigns used to do that dive over the top of the ring? I mean that's scary when you see a guy that big and athletic doing something like that, and that's what Braun Breaker can do. This kid is incredibly athletic.
Dolph Ziggler just hit Braun Breaker with the zigzag, but he couldn't get the one. Only a 2 count.
Oh, famouser. Zigzag. Good combo. I'd say the match was pretty slow at the beginning with a couple of botches, but it's really picked up very well towards the end.
Yeah,
this is exactly what you need to do. Dolph Ziggler is helping make Breaker look like a star. And to a degree, Robert Roode.
Yeah,
my God, does he have a good spear?
The fact that I'm pretty sure that Braun Breaker is still going to win this match, and Robert Roode has definitely involved himself in it a little bit.
Oh, no doubt he's winning. There's no doubt Breaker is winning. That was just pretty much it right there. That Breaker kicked out of that.
Savage like elbow off the top rope.
Oh, Dolph Ziggler is so good. This guy is one of the most smoothest guys in the ring. He's been like that
probably
for years.
The most underappreciated superstar in WWE. Beyond,
I think I appreciate Vince McMahon and the people backstage for giving Dolph Ziggler this chance, which has sort of reinvigorated his career by throwing him in NXT for this short amount of time to not only help put a Braun Breaker over as the next big star, but at least to give Dolph Ziggler that momentum and let people remember how good he really was in his prime. So, I mean, I appreciate them doing that and letting Dolph have a token NXT title run to add to his impressive resume himself. So, I know a lot of people have made fun of Ziggler because he's always been the guy that's been underwhelming, underappreciated, sort of the guy that comes close but not gets over the top. So, I mean, it's nice to see him have this moment.
I totally agree, man. Dolph Ziggler, like I said, I just mentioned, very underappreciated superstar, man. He's always been gold in the ring, man. He's solid. Like I said, he's a safe performer.
Very good on the mic, too. Very good character. Sells incredibly
underrated
well.
on the mic. I think he's very underrated on the mic. He has very good charisma on the mic.
A lot of people dawn him as the next Shawn Michaels. Like he was going to be that next Shawn Michaels type person because he had all the mannerisms, the character, the look, and everything like a Shawn Michaels.
Like Braun Breaker is getting ready to put him away now.
Yep.
For sure this time.
That's it. Adios, Dolph.
Oh, no, bro. Dolph reverses. Super kick.
Oh, my God. That spear is so good. It's such an incredibly good spear.
Oh, my God. Did that just happen?
Oh!
Dolph Ziggler for the win. Now
he won it!
That is a surprise.
Dolph retained the title.
Now, I am genuinely surprised because this is the result that I thought was a slam dunk. No way in the world.
It could mean Braun Breaker is destined for the main roster. Could be destined for the main roster. Oh God, I just got a thought in my head. What if Braun
It-
Breaker is the mystery opponent for Seth?
oh
It's
my God.
possible. You got to think about it, Mac. He just lost the
That's
NXT title match. He could be destined for the main roster. It's not
that's
out of the
become
question that he
a
becomes that
possibility.
opponent, which I would not love, and I'm sure the crowd would not love. But it's a definite, distinct possibility with him not winning this match that Braun Breaker is main roster bound, and
With
it
him
could be
not
that
winning
mystery
this,
opponent.
yeah, with him not winning this match, it makes me wonder what is truly the plan for Braun Breaker now going forward, and what's the plan with this NXT title run with Dolph Ziggler? Because he absolutely still wrestles on Raw too. I mean, he's part of a tag team with Robert Roode. What's
Gunther? You think maybe we get Gunther? Goes after
Gunther
Dolph Ziggler?
and Dolph Ziggler? Whew.
It's possible. They're building up Gunther like an unstoppable force. Maybe Gunther's ready to take that next step towards the title. Maybe a Carmelo Hayes. Maybe you want to push him, like take him out of the North American title thing and just push him to WrestleMania or push him to the world title.
I guess at this point, anything's a possibility. I mean, this was the most surprising finish for me of the night. I mean, I really was convinced that Braun Breaker was definitely going to win this title.
Me too. I'm very genuinely surprised that Braun Breaker did not take the title here. I'm very, very shocked at that happening. So, both surprisingly, both the world champions retained. Dolph and Mandy both retained their titles. Well, the
Those are the
tag
only
team
two
titles.
titles that didn't
Mhm.
change hands.
So, out of this pay per view, out of 5 stars, what would you rank this pay per view? I would give it a 4 or 4.25 out of 5. I think it was that great of a pay per view.
Yeah, I'd definitely keep it at about a 4. I'd say at about a 4. It was exciting the whole way through. All the matches were good. I mean, literally all the matches were good.
Mm-hmm.
So
I thought the storytelling was very well done, and you had that surprising, shocking finish with Braun Breaker not beating Dolph Ziggler, and now it lays the question of, is Braun Breaker about to be main roster bound, and is it possible that if Cody Rhodes is not guaranteed for tonight, that Braun Breaker is the one that will face Seth Rollins? Because you got to put that on the table.
the only problem I would think with that is because would they have him turn around to wrestle Seth Rollins later on tonight after a grueling match with Dolph Ziggler?
They do it all the time. And plus, he's
I
going to have a
mean,
few hours to heal up, and it's probably, I wouldn't be shocked if that match is somewhere in the middle of the card.
well, yeah, I'm
Speaking of
sure.
speaking of that, since WrestleMania is at what, 7 or 8 o'clock Eastern? I think 7, right?
It's 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock. What do you think is going to be the first match that they're going to show on the card?
I think it'll be Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's title to start the show off tonight. I just got
I'm
this. I don't. I
I'm
think
on the
it might
same
start off
wavelength as
right
you.
there.
I'm the same wavelength as you. Try to start it off hot with a women's championship match. So I think that'll be the first match they show too. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a very exciting NXT show. I thought the matches were all great. I thought they delivered, and it felt like an old school NXT type show. I was very happy with how NXT Stand and Deliver was this year. So I think I'd give it
Yeah.
a 4.25 range of a pay per view.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Jeff. There, man. I say I give it a strong 4, man. Myself, it was exciting. It was fun. The good matches, man. What was your highlight of the night of the day? What was your favorite match of this of the card?
Man, that's a tough one. I would probably go with the ladder match just for the sheer fact of all the incredible, crazy spots. My highlight spot would probably be that Grayson Waller off the top
Oh,
of the ladder, elbow drop onto who was it that he jumped on? It was it Cameron? Well, it wasn't Cameron Grimes. It was
it was Carmelo Anthony Hayes. He was. Why is he
no
calling this guy Carmelo Anthony?
no Hayes was on the outside watching the spot with Trick Williams. So I think it was
You talking about
I
when
think it was
Grayson
Solo.
Waller
I think it was Solo Sikoa that he did it.
You talking about Grayson Waller when he did the spot the elbow?
Yeah, remember they zoomed over to the side by the steps, and Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes are like looking at
No,
him
it was
shocked.
Carmelo that was laying there. Carmelo got out of the way.
Oh, then it was probably
Carmelo
Solo
rolled out
that
of
he
the
probably hit
way.
Solo then on the
Yeah,
spot.
Moved out the way. Rolled out
My
of the way.
bad.
Him and Trick Williams was like, "What the hell, Matt?" Like pretty much looking like, "Glad I didn't absorb that."
Yeah, I mean that was probably the craziest spot of the entire night. Was that top the ladder spot by Grayson Waller, and you got to hope the kid's okay because he could have really messed up his arm or his knee on that spot. But that was probably the highlight, which was one of the better
Match,
ladder matches I've seen.
it was a good rate ladder match. One of the matches I enjoyed a lot on this card was actually the triple threat tag team match. The Creed brothers, MSK, and Imperium. That match was actually had a lot of good spots in it as well. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of good high flying tag team action. All three teams trying to assert their particular style in the match, and it was really fun. It was actually pretty and really enjoyable match to watch. MSK came out on top
That
with the
surprised me too.
victory.
I did not think MSK was going to win the titles
I
back, but
didn't
that
think so
was
either. I thought Imperium was going to hang on. I thought Imperium was going to retain their titles, honestly,
me
in
too.
that spot.
And I thought the
But
women's match, the Fatal 4-Way women's match, was great too. I enjoyed all the work that all four of those women did. They did really nice
absolutely.
spots. I thought that was a very, very good match itself.
But the moment of the night, I feel like the moment of the night still has to go to Tommaso Ciampa for the
Mm-hmm.
moment, just the moment of the night, man. Like I said, his last hurrah for NXT, and it was just a great moment at the end. Like you said, Triple H coming out, and that's just like you said, what moments are made of, man. That's
Absolutely.
a he had somewhat of his WrestleMania moment right there, man.
And that's what WrestleMania or that's what wrestling is all about when you have the moments like that. And Tommaso Ciampa got the most incredible farewell you can get from NXT. When you have Triple H coming out there embracing Tommaso Ciampa, and then Triple H leaves, and his music is still playing "Bow Down to the King" with Tommaso Ciampa standing there as Tommaso Ciampa is the king of NXT. That is like a symbolism right there. So I thought that was a very brilliantly job done
I appreciate
by
that, Slay,
NXT.
man. Thanks for coming through and checking out a little bit, man. I really appreciate you. Be doing this again later on for WrestleMania Saturday night. We'll be doing it again on Sunday for WrestleMania Sunday night as well.
And it would be awesome if you guys want to come hop on the stream too and just talk wrestling and just give your thoughts in the chat or even give your thoughts on the panel. We'd really appreciate that. We're always open for all that
Absolutely.
stuff. Thank you
I'll
so
be
much, Slay.
I'll be sending the link out to some people later on anyway. Have some more people on later on. Jeff, hopefully you're welcome back later on again. I
Oh,
hope
I'm going to be here. I might though.
absolutely.
I might be quiet during that Austin moment because I'm going to pause the mic. I'm turning up that TV and I am just going to
Oh,
sit there and embrace the hell of when Austin
that's a
comes out, that
must.
glass shatters, and oh my God.
That's a must for me too. I got to hear that glass shatter, man. I'm gonna.
I really know. I think this might be one of the loudest reactions you'll ever hear at WrestleMania. That crowd is going to blow the friggin' roof off when that glass breaks because it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. And you know what? As much as the what chant can get annoying, I don't give a crap if they chant what the entire time because it's Austin and Austin gets that what chant. And Kevin Owens is going to make him look like $1,000,000.
Yeah,
That's going to
Austin
be an
back in the
incredible
WWE
moment.
ring is going to be awesome, man.
I can't wait. As a nostalgic wrestling fan and being a huge fan like you are of Stone Cold Steve Austin and watching his rise in the WWF and what he's done and what an incredible video package they had with Kid Rock. How can you not be
Absolutely.
excited as a wrestling fan not to wait to see Stone Cold Steve Austin come out and raise hell one more time? I can't wait. I'm ecstatic.
Yeah. So later on, probably have a few more members of the Big Blue Crew representing later on here with me. We'll be sending, like I said, sending the link out to a few of the guys. Try to have a little more diversity, like dynamic on the panel later on for the show. This one was a little early. Thanks for stopping by, Jeff, man. I really appreciate you, man. You're a great information, man. Like Slay said, man, you know your wrestling stuff, and I love talking to somebody like you that I can really we can bounce different opinions off of, man. Might not all be the same shared opinions, but at the same time, we all have different. We can bounce our opinions off each other, and it's really I enjoyed the stream doing it with you, bro. And anybody out there, and Jeff has his channel. You can drop your link in the chat, Jeff, anytime, man. And subscribe to Jeff's channel, man. Just launching it, getting it off the ground. He's great content creator, man. He knows his stuff about the New York Football Giants, the New York Mets, the Brooklyn Nets, his wrestling stuff, man. Jeff does it all, man. He's a stand up dude, man. Please help support Jeff, man, and start subscribing to his channel and getting and building them up, man. because he's going to be delivering great content for you. Speaking of the New York Mets, did you see that information about Max Scherzer?
Don't even get me started with that. After the DeGrom news, and then I got to see what happened with Max Scherzer. I really don't want to be that. Well, first off, thank you so much for the kind words. I really appreciate everything that you said. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for guys like you, Mac. You and some of the other members of the Big Blue crew, you guys are the pioneers of this group, and you guys help the littler guys like myself get into the business. So I really appreciate all the things that you guys have done. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Mac the Giants Fan. He brings some incredible content on the NCAA tournament, on WWE, AEW, his NFC East recap when you get back to the season, Giants content. You guys are going to get a lot of great stuff from this man, from Mac the Giants Fan, one of the most underrated and best Giants YouTube content creators out there. But in terms of the Max Scherzer stuff, I mean, I really don't know if this is just a minor thing and they're just trying to make sure he doesn't restrain it anymore. They're just trying to take it easy with him. But after the DeGrom news, I mean, they don't want to take any chances with the season starting soon. That's why you hear this rumor. And I just put a video out there recently about the potential rumor of a trade happening with the Padres with Chris Paddock as well as Eric Hosmer and the reliever Emilio Pecan coming over to the New York Mets for Dom Smith, and the Padres are going to be picking up some of the remaining salary on Eric Hosmer's contract. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. I like Dominic Smith a lot. I think he's a very underrated, underappreciated He's a good first baseman, good bat, decent glove, also could play the outfield. Eric Hosmer, not the same player he was when he won the championship with KC about 7 years ago. So you're just pretty much going to be getting a guy with a bat that's getting weaker and also a pretty good solid glove. But then you got Pete Alonso, who wants to be the everyday first baseman. So
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll see what happens.
I think maybe because last year with Dominic Smith, man, he had a little inconsistencies with his bat in the lineup, and it was, I don't know, maybe they just feel some need. It's time to really move on if we can acquire some pieces for him.
Well, he does have a position on the team right now, and he was also dealing with a labrum issue last year, so maybe that was the reason why he had the low production going on. But yeah, he really doesn't have a spot on this team. When they acquired Marte and they got Canna, so he pretty much is a tradable chip. So yeah, I mean, it's you could try to get anything you can. I'm not in love with this trade package, but I mean, if they get it, it's fine.
Is the DH rule in effect immediately this season in the NL?
Yes, it is. Yeah, the NL now has DH right now, but Alonso doesn't want to play DH. He wants to be a first baseman. That's the problem. He wants to be a first baseman at this point.
He wants to play. He wants to play in the field.
He wants to play in the field.
Defensively, if you could get that extra bat, have an extra good solid bat in that lineup, and he's not even getting worn down by being out in the field, you know what I mean? That could benefit him. I mean, I guess I don't know.
Well, it's plus you got Cano coming back, and you got McNeil. You just acquired Escobar. You got Lindor there. You got a bunch of pieces that you need. You got J.D. Davis still out there, so you got a bunch of interchangeable pieces that you can.
Forgot about J.D. Davis actually.
Yeah, you can put on the infield and also interchange those guys in the DH position. So it's you don't want to clog the DH position with just like one certain guy, because then you're gonna have a bunch of guys that aren't going to get the at bats that they need unless you want to throw them out of position in the outfield. And I don't really want to see McNeil or even Dom Smith playing primarily in the outfield when they're more known to be solid, solid infield players. So it's a sticky situation. So we'll see what happens.
Didn't mean to go way off on a baseball thing right quick. I just want to address the Big Play Slays comment here in the chat. And honestly, I thought that's what the direction they were headed in, and all of a sudden they kind of went away from it again and got Ray and Dominic back united again. I guess they didn't want to go down that rabbit hole of a big family breakup and storyline again, because they've clearly been down there before with the Hardys years ago in the past, and other, like they had the Steiners too years ago and such. I mean, so they've been down that rabbit hole before. Maybe they just kind of wanted to back away from it this time. But they were laying the foundation like that's what was going to happen. And who knows? You never know what could happen tonight. Anything can still happen. It's WrestleMania. So we'll see.
Absolutely. I mean, I really don't care for that match that much tonight, but would it be cool to see Dom turn on his father? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen? No. I think
No.
they always usually give the celebrity the win at WrestleMania, but I could definitely see the Mysterios winning, getting their revenge on The Miz and Logan Paul, and then having that
Well,
feel-good moment for the crowd. It's like
I
father and
would
son
have been on
embracing.
board with that, with the Logan Paul and Miz getting the win tonight before the Miz stole Rey Mysterio's mask. You know, that kind of brings an extra element into this match now, where it's like, maybe they are gonna have Rey and Dominic get this W. I don't know. Like I said, I was talking to somebody else about Adam. I think it was. I was talking to him about it. Honestly, with all these celebrity appearances now, the bar has been raised by Bad Bunny's performance in WrestleMania 37. I mean, he raised the bar for celebrities in the ring, getting in the ring now. I mean, Bad Bunny looked like he was a veteran wrestler for years. The things he was out there doing last year at WrestleMania. So just good luck to Logan Paul trying to step into those shoes, because what you call it did Bad Bunny made you guys made it so these guys got to come in and actually put on a more of a show, as opposed to just showing up and just being part of the show. You got to actually put on a show now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's a lot of, and obviously Pat McAfee too. He had a great match with when he
Adam
faced off
Cole.
against Adam Cole in NXT. So I mean, he's apparently been training though, Logan Paul, a lot for this moment. It's just a question of, can he actually deliver a good match in the ring? Can he actually pull it off? He's got the Miz there to help him out in terms of getting that heat. Logan Paul is good as being a heat magnet. The problem is he going to be able to deliver a pretty good match in the ring? I don't know if he can. I really just don't know if he can. That's the problem.
Well, we're gonna find out. We'll find out a little bit later on, man. So I'm assuming that batch will be somewhere in the middle of the card, because you just kind of want to disguise it in and kind of just, let people get a little hyped up with some good matches first, and then maybe sneak one like that in in the middle somewhere. I would assume. But Jeff, man, it's been cool, man. Thanks for coming through for this NXT Stand and Deliver, man. I'll see you later on for WrestleMania Saturday night, bro.
Oh, no doubt about it. Thank you for having me on the panel. It's been a really fun time doing the NXT Stand and Deliver pay-per-view with you, Mac. And if you guys haven't already, please sub up to Mac the Giants Fan, where you're going to get some great New York Giants, NFC East, NCAA tournament, maybe some NBA basketball, and also some great wrestling content on WWE, on AEW, and any and all sorts of wrestling. So make sure you sub this man over here on my left with your big-time sub, and hit that like button for the miggity Mac.
And do the same as well for NYG Jeffy T 3285, man. Hit that, go there, hit that subscribe, hit them likes, ring that bell, man. This man already just dropping videos, man, at a rapid pace, man. You don't want to miss the content. It's all been great so far, man. So thanks everybody, man. I'll be back with y'all in a few more hours covering WrestleMania Saturday night. Jeff, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you then. And it's y'all boy Mac the Giants fan. Peace. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants Fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants Fan. That's MACDA Giants Fan.